Our products are organically sourced natural healthy foods from Nigeria, West Africa, sourced directly from the small local farmers. At Naturalike, we believe what you put in your body and on your body can dramatically impact your health and well-being. Boost your energy levels and satisfy your cravings with a healthy dose of natural sweetness from our products. We're excited to help lead African foods and products into the global health and wellness markets. Follow us on Instagram at Naturalike, on Facebook at Naturalike LLC, and YouTube at Naturalike TV. These organically sourced foods are available at our Amazon store, amazon.com/Naturalike. Email us at naturalikeproducts@gmail.com.
One of the greatest empires in world history was the Mali Empire. The Mali Empire was one of the most prosperous and powerful empires in the antiquity of Africa. Its growth and expansion from the 13th century onwards was legendary and pivotal in the history and culture of Western Africa. The Mali Empire Volume 1, from author J.P. Martin, available on Amazon, is a book which provides the full historical record of the Mali Empire. From their control over the trans-Saharan trade routes and development of great cities such as Timbuktu, to their influential royal class who produced notable African kings such as Mansa Musa, Sundiata Keita, and Mansa Abubakar Keita II, the Mali Empire made a significant impression. This book is perfect for anyone interested in learning more about the history of Western Africa. Order your copy right now on Amazon. The Mali Empire, Volume 1, from author J.P. Martin. Go to Amazon.com and get your copy today.
Peace, family. Let me check my mic. Give me 1 second. We aren't live yet. Well, we are kind of live, but not really. There we go. All right, everyone. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. I am so happy to see all of your beautiful faces. Well, I can't really see your faces. I just see your PFPs. But I'm just happy that you guys are here with me, rocking with me this Monday afternoon. You know the drill. Hit the like button again. Please hit the like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it on this beautiful Monday afternoon. Once again, if you haven't touched some grass today, again, if you haven't touched some grass, go outside and touch some grass. Go outside and get some fresh air because it's nice here in Atlanta. I don't know where you're at. I don't know how the weather is wherever you're at, but it's nice here in Atlanta. So hit the like button, share, and subscribe. A couple of announcements. Announcement number one, we are rolling to we're not going to Sierra Leone. Technically, the Sierra Leone trip should have happened in April. You know, if you guys don't know, usually it was postponed this April. But usually every April and November, they have we have the citizenship swearing in for. In fact, here's my Sierra Leone passport right here. I got my passports right over here. For those who have DNA roots back or connects them back to Sierra Leone, and for some reason, there wasn't a ceremony swearing in this past April. So I was about to say, you know, we're going to Sierra Leone, but we're not going to Sierra Leone. Actually, we leave for Senegal on Sunday, and I'm looking forward to that. We have a full packed trip. We have a full group. Group is full, filled up. So I'm looking forward to that. I cannot wait till we get to Senegal, going for the jazz festival. There's like 14 of us. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have an excellent time in Senegal for the jazz festival. So looking forward to that. As you guys know, I'll be putting all the video and the footage of everything on posting it on social media. So with that being said, go to on Instagram. I need to update the handles on my pages, but on Instagram it's Prince Dynasty Amir on Instagram. So you guys could, I usually post there first. So Marie, that's a good question. I want to, but Sierra Leone is kind of last. So what I don't want to happen, Marie. So I am going to do trips to Sierra Leone, even if there's no citizenship ceremony. But what I don't want to happen is I plan a trip to Sierra Leone in April for Independence Day celebration, or a week for us, because we'll be going to Sierra Leone for like a little over a week. And then they give conflicting dates. Well, not necessarily conflicting dates. They give dates for the citizenship ceremony, which then I would have to change the tour, if that makes sense. So I would just love for Sierra Leone to say, hey, we're going to continue the ceremony or we aren't. So therefore I could plan in advance. But I heard from a source, I'm not going to say who, but I heard from a source that there should be a ceremony in November. Again, I heard from a credible source, a very credible source, that there will be a ceremony in November. It hasn't been announced officially yet, but I heard from a bird. A bird came to my window and said, hey, there should be a ceremony in November. So hopefully there is. If there's not, oh well, but hopefully there is. That's why, everybody who's gotten their passports, everyone who had the sense of urgency to go ahead and go through the process and get their passports, everyone who made it priority, I heard everything from, my auntie's cousins, sister's birthdays that weekend, I can't come. I heard everything, and I'm just like, look, man, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to get citizenship in another country. And a lot of people were counting on that it's going to happen twice a year. But it was kind of rug pulled, because there's not a kind of rug pull. It was rug pulled because there wasn't one this past April. And there's necessarily no guarantee, even though from my sources that there's going to be one in November, there's still no guarantee that there's going to be one in November. So everyone who made it priority to get their citizenship in Sierra Leone, congratulations. So like I said, it's Thanksgiving night. I got to eat my turkey dinner with my family. My uncle, sisters, brothers, birthday jam, birthday bash, conflicts with the days. I done heard everything. I'm just like, look, family, Black folks talk about how they want to reconnect to Africa, and the lack of reaching out and engagement, and why can't we get citizenship on our arrival? We were taken away as Africans and we returned as Africans. So why we got to go through all this to get citizenship in the country? Then Sierra Leone says, hey, here's an opportunity. And all of a sudden, I got to celebrate my uncle's, brothers, sisters, auntie, cousins' birthday. So I was like, all right, cool. You know what? None of my business. See you on a rebound. When it was me, when I got that phone call for Sierra Leone, this was, so my, in fact, I'll tell you right now. I actually, let's see here. So my passport was issued December 29th, 2020. I literally got notification about the swearing in ceremony that November. So a month before. I dropped everything. When I got the phone call, literally in November, so I didn't get notification about the actual citizenship ceremony until probably, like, we'll say a month beforehand. So I want to say like mid-November, early November, I got the phone call like, hey, Dynast, there's gonna be another ceremony. You want your citizenship, you need to be here these dates. I dropped everything I was doing. I bought my ticket, called my family, let the mother of my child know I gotta go. I gotta go. I'm gone. And that was that. And that was that. So, okay, I got off topic a little bit. But so we're rolling to Nigeria, August 4th through the 13th. August 4th through the 13th. We are rolling to Nigeria. Like I said, I'm not sure about November, but my close sources say that it's gonna happen in November, but that's not been finalized. So don't hold me to that. Okay, again, do not hold me to that. You know, a friend of a friend told me that it's happening in November, but do not hold me to that. But what's definitely happening and what's going on, we are rolling to the Oshun Festival, August 4th through the 13th. August 4th through the 13th, we are rolling to Nigeria for the Oshun Festival. Please visit Danfo, DANFO.com. Again, DANFO.com to learn more. Again, we're rolling to Oshun Festival, August 4th through the 13th. August 4th through the 13th. Visit Danfo.Africa. We have 4 spots left. And then we're going to Zanzibar, Safari Blue, September 22nd through October 1st. September 22nd through October 1st. We are rolling to Zanzibar, Safari Blue. I have 2 spots left. Well, two. I have 2 spots left for Safari Blue in Zanzibar. Y'all, it's just white sand beaches, blue water, good food. We're gonna have a great time. To learn more, visit Danfo, DANFO.Africa. Again, please visit Danfo, DANFO, to learn more. I would love to have you all come and join us. We have an excellent time on these trips. And even if you're not going to come on one of the trips, still go to Danfo, visit the site, fill the information form out. And guys, when you fill out this information form, this to be added to the list, I'm sorry. When you fill out the form to be added to the email list, like I'm going to call you guys. You're going to get a phone call from me, a direct phone call, and not from a burner phone, from my actual phone number, from this iPhone right here. You don't get a phone call. You're going to get a phone call. So go to Danfo.Africa, fill out the information, and expect a phone call from me. Don't be surprised. Because some people are like, man, Dynast, I didn't know you was going to actually call. Yeah, what you expecting? I'm calling. So do not be surprised when I hit you guys up. So let's jump into today's topic. There have been rumblings. And somebody brought this up on, I think it was last night's show with Abube, which was an excellent show. Last night with Abube Okoli, our in-house lawyer. There was somebody brought up that the U.S. was interested in having, because if you guys don't know, France and the U.S. have effectively been kicked out of Niger. Now Chad is coming next down the pipeline, and of course Burkina Faso and Mali, because of Russian influence. So the United States of America, they're now whatever the strategic, because there was a huge drone base that was in Niger. So there was a military presence in Niger. Now that military presence is effectively gone. So the influence or the presence that the United States of America had in the Sahel is gone. So now they're like, look, maybe we could come to Nigeria. And from my understanding, the location is going to be situated in the north on the border of Nigeria. And I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be a good look. It's definitely not going to be a good look. Shout out to Jody, Jody Joe. Question: if World War III breaks out, what countries would you go to? I'm going back to Africa. I'll be in Sierra. I'll be in between Senegal, Sierra Leone, and Nigeria. If we're going to say if, because we don't want it to happen. If World War III breaks out, Africa is going to be the safest continent. United States of America is going to be ground zero. When I was in high school. When I was in high school, my history class, Mr. English, I think it was my history teacher, Mr. English at Christian Brothers High School. He one of us, us being students, asked him if World War III was to break out, like what would happen to the United States of America? And he broke down, he started naming all the military bases, all the Air Force bases here in America. This base, they're going after this base, that base. The United States of America is going to be ground zero. Again, the United States of America is going to be ground zero. And at the time in Sacramento, where I'm from, you have Mathers Air Force Base, you have McClellan Air Force Base, you have Travis Air Force Base. Well, I think Mather and McClellan they've closed down, but you still have Travis Air Force Base. And then I'm in Georgia now. You have Warner Robins, which is a huge base, not probably like 2.5 hours south from here. And then like the largest nuclear power plant, I believe, is here in Georgia too. So Georgia's gonna be ground zero. You have the busiest airport in the world at Hartsfield Jackson. So Georgia's gonna be ground zero. Trust me. As far as strategic locations that these nuclear bombs need to hit, knock on wood. But we're gonna pray it doesn't happen. But I'll be in Senegal, Sierra Leone, and Nigeria. That's where you can find me. Senegal, Sierra Leone, and Nigeria. That's where you can find me. So that's what's going on. So the United States of America now is plotting to have a base in Nigeria because they're out of the Sahel pretty much. Jody Joe, I hope that answers your question.
Welcome to the Beam, where curiosity meets conversations, taking us a step further into the future we desire. I'm Sunes Nathaniel, and today we'll be looking at repelling national and transnational security threats using research and technology. Again, on the show, on this episode, we're going to be taking a look at the terrorist threats in Nigeria and a certain new call for some faction of the country urging the government not to allow the United States and France to host military bases in the country, even as the country continues to battle the terrorists, the kidnappers. We're going to be looking at all that, and we're going to be taking that research-based approach to solutions for the violence and the crimes that continue daily to threaten our existence. Joining me remotely now to do justice to this topic is another university prof, a very important one. He is from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. He's none other than Professor Freedom Onoha, who lectures at the Department of Political Science. He is the coordinator rather of the Security, Violence, and Conflict Research Group at the university. You're welcome, Professor Onoha. It's a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you, Nathaniel, for the invitation for us to share our thoughts on this.
All right, thank you. Okay, so let's get straight to the first thing that we have on my plate today. And that will be the fact that for a while, we have heard of the repentant Boko Haram kind of being the people who have caused some mayhem in recent times. There's a recent one that happened in Borno State. And then the question becomes, where did we get it wrong? Or what is wrong within that system of the whole repentant thing about taking them back, trying to rehabilitate them? Is there where we have gotten it wrong? Is there something we're missing right now?
So with Nigeria, and I hope this isn't real, but I think it's real. So it's kind of like truth and reconciliation, like they had in South Africa. You know, it's second chances. So if you're part of Boko Haram, and if you repent, I guess, or apologize and say sorry for being a terrorist, a suspected terrorist, you could assimilate now into the Nigerian army. Don't know how that's going to work out, but that's been suggested, which makes absolutely no sense. But let's hear the feedback.
Well, Nathaniel, I think again you really hit the point, and you have raised a very important question. Against the backdrop of the recent attacks on police stations, and then of course the security checkpoints belonging to the NDLA, being alleged. Let me use the word alleged until it is confirmed. Being alleged that they were mounted by the repentant Boko Haram. I think this is now the latest of the episode that raised concern about how robust, how effective is our DDR program. If you flash your mind back in August 2023, we also had such incident where I think 3 members of the Boko Haram, repentant Boko Haram members, were arrested on the grounds that they were actually playing key logistic role, hauling tires, hauling tubes, and handling other materials that the Boko Haram needed to Sambisa Forest. And with the latest incident that happened last week, which is the point that ex-Boko Haram members attacked police station and checkpoints in Borno State. I think it raises a lot of questions, and I think we have to look at the questions first before we think about perhaps what was going to be the solution. And for me, I was really taken aback with that recent development because, again, if you look at it from a critical security point of view, it raises at least about 5 major questions. Question number 1 is, I think it is the issue that our DDR program perhaps is lacking in the aspect.
Hey guys, links in the chat room. If you want to call in and start the conversation early as far as should U.S. military bases be allowed in Nigeria, click on the link and you're more than welcome to join. Again, link is in the chat room.
Of the RR program, of course, the DDR means the demobilization, de-radicalization, rehabilitation, and the reintegration aspect. I think from what we have seen in recent times, it appears as though there have been some success in the DDR dimension, which is the demobilization and de-radicalization component. But in the RR, which is the rehabilitation and the reintegration aspect, I think that's where the problem lies. So to what extent is the program or even the structuring of the package effective in reintegrating some of these delegates, as they call them, or graduates, is a very serious issue that we need to pay particular attention. And again, we need to be very measured in our assessment. That we have 1 or 2 or 3 incidences of recidivism doesn't mean that the program is completely wrong. But I think it raises a lot of broader political economic questions. For example, if we succeed in rehabilitating them, are we succeeding in reintegrating them? Because for you to
Cosmo, go ahead.
But I think it is a lot of brother.
Cosmo, you got to turn off the playback.
Right. Hold on. Sorry. My own point of view in this is that what are they doing here? Like what are they doing? Like to fight terrorists? If France and America have not been able to fight the terrorism happening in Niger, Burkina Faso, and these areas for the past 10 years or 15 years, what the hell are they doing in Nigeria?
Right.
Like, so that's how you know that there's an agenda. So Nigeria should not let them anywhere close or near Nigeria at all. Because what it's going to do is that, you see, Nigeria is a strategic place in the black world.
Right.
Because you see, as long as Nigeria is destabilized, the rest of the black world can easily be controlled. So if they can put their footing in that land, on that territory, man, trust me, man, it's going to be a lot of insidious things happening. You're just going to be seeing things happening, and you're not going to be able to pinpoint what is going on. These people, they'll be killing strategic people. They'll be killing strategic people and be putting their own people in place to control the politics. So you would think that, oh, these are your government, but you don't know that these are puppets. So nah, man, but trust me, the people who are calling for the United States military to be in Nigeria, if we investigate them, there's somebody paying them. The Zionist Jews are paying them. All people are paying them. So yeah, this is something that we have to take serious. And there's this other thing that I've also been noticing. There's a lot of white Europeans now going into Africa, especially Nigeria right now.
Let me stop you right there.
Right.
In 2000 and I think 12 or 13, I think 13, maybe 12 or 13, something like that. The first time I went to West Africa, the first country I went to was Senegal.
Yes.
I promise you, I saw maybe 2 white people the whole trip.
Well, Senegal is different from Nigeria.
No, but let me finish. Now,
right,
everywhere.
Yeah.
Nigeria. Like, even the first time I went to Nigeria, 2018, I don't even think I saw a Lebanese person. I think I might have saw one white guy.
Right.
And they technically, well, they're white, but they're not white because I went to the Oshun festival. So it was the Brazilians that are into Ifa. But they're white Brazilians, but they don't claim they're white. I don't know what it is.
I mean,
now listen, when I go to Nigeria now, white people
they're too comfortable. They're too comfortable because
when I was in Nigeria this past January, this past January, 2024, when I was in Nigeria after the Voodoo Festival, in Oshogbo, at the hotel, there was a delegation of like 15 white people. I've never seen that.
Right.
But what kills me, Cosmic, but black folks some of us are so scared to go to Nigeria.
Well, it's all planned. It's all orchestrated. One of the things Eric Kinsey just said was that they must not allow Black America and Africa to ever connect.
No, we see. Listen, this is where I disagree with that. We got to stop blaming. Listen, Delta flies direct to Lagos every day out of Atlanta. Every day. Ain't nobody stopping you from going to Nigeria.
See, you can only go to a place that.
Let me finish. Delta flies direct to Accra. All these airlines fly to Africa. I'm tired of these excuses about folks not going to Africa. And what's going to happen when black folks start seeing all the white people and the Chinese people and the Asian people and these people over there, all they're going to do is complain. And it's like, well, you could have went over there. Well, man, I saw on TV, man, I heard it wasn't safe.
Right. See, but you cannot underestimate. It's not normal. See, if we look at it from this perspective, it's not normal for an African or an African American not to be interested in Africa. It's not normal. You get what I'm saying? A European is interested in Europe, even though he's never been to Europe before. The first place he wants to go is his hometown, Europe.
Right.
So if we look at it from a perspective that it's not normal for African Americans to look at Africa and say, nah, that there's something behind it. But let's say it's an excuse. Okay, no problem. We will have to sell Africa back to our people, which is what you are doing, right? Which is why we appreciate you, both sides from diaspora and Africa. We need more people like you. But at the same time, this is a deep conversation, right? Mm-hmm. Like, okay, let me get back to before I forget, right? There's this white guy, he's a Mason, right? He's this popular white guy, and he was calling Europeans to start coming into Africa and start buying up lands and doing real estate that is so much easier and cheaper, life is better. And now I was chatting him up on Instagram, telling me, look, man, we are not going to share our wealth with you anymore. And this guy had the audacity to send me a picture of him with a black Nigerian woman in Nigeria selling him land. So these people are buying up land in Africa behind our door, using African women, Nigerian women. They are buying up these lands and they are building real estate in it and apartments. So we're paying them. So you think that this apartment complex is owned by a Nigerian? No, it's owned by a European. The same European that you go to his land and you are at the bottom of the society. And that is why Seun Kuti is preaching. And he keeps saying that Africans need to be class conscious. Why would you go to the global world and automatically you're the bottom of the society? And now you now happen to have the best land in the world, the richest culture in the world, the richest continent in the world, and you want to share that with the people who have never shared nothing with you. So we have to be class conscious. Africa is our own haven. A European should come to Nigeria. I'm not saying I don't want them in Nigeria, but if you come to Nigeria, you should come look for a job just like the way we look for a job when we go to their country. You should not be able to just bring the money they've stolen from us for the past 600 years or how many years and bring it back into Africa and start controlling us through economics. So we must be class conscious, and we must start holding our elites and our government accountable. We have to. If we have to die, we have to. Because the reason why they keep doing this is because they know nobody's going to hold them accountable. Nobody's going to drag them out of their house. Because our elites are the children of the people who sold us out. They don't see us as part of them. They see us as part of the larger European elite. So at the end of the day, there's so many things we need to get done. We need, like I said, we need to stop talking and intellectualizing. We need to find a way to start implementing our money, the black dollar, the black diaspora dollar, and going into Africa and owning things and hiring ourselves. That's all I got to say.
Okay. Guys, links in the chat room. Link is in the chat room. Please click on the link. Now listen. At least they're going though. They're all going there to do YouTube videos like they are in the Safari Madness.
They are too comfortable. They are too comfortable.
But listen, I'm not mad. They're going.
No, see, you have to understand the mentality of the Europeans. The mentality
I understand the mentality, but some of our folks are so scared to go. Well, let them go shoot their Safari videos.
See, Dynast, let's be honest. Dynast, I've been in America for 15 years. You are not the average African American. You are well exposed. I've lived in San Diego. I've lived in Dallas. I've lived in Baltimore. I've lived in New York. I've lived in DC. I've lived in Houston. I'm now living in Los Angeles. You are not the average Black American. You get what I'm saying? You are a well-to-do Black man. The average African American does not even know what is going on. He's inundated with hip hop. He's inundated with all this hip hop gossip. He's inundated by what the Jewish people are giving him in through all this media. They don't know anything. And when they hear Africa, the conception or the visualization they have about Africa is what they are being shown by all this TV. If you see, most of the people in FBA, ADOS, they are not exposed. Although I do kind of agree with them. It's just like, for example, Brandon, right? Brandon looks at Africa from the perspective of a Black American from the hood. He used hood politics to look at the politics of Africa, which is wrong.
What do you mean? Expand on that.
For example, when Brandon wants to get any information about Africa, it goes to white sources. You get what I'm saying? Because a Black American child for the past 40 years, you've been taught by white women. So if Black America values white information, what white people say. But how can you call yourself a Pan-African and you are not going to African sources to get your information? You are going to European sources to get your information. You are not a Pan-African. So then it's also, looking at things like, the way they play your Black politics out here is the way Black politicians are in Nigeria. No. White people are not going to act the way they act with Black Americans like the way they act with Nigerians. Hell no. So I rest my case.
Go ahead, Jacqueline.
Hi guys, good evening. It's quite interesting how my friend Cosmic Chaos raised that example of the way some Black Americans look at the African discourse, and I think it's a problem of communication and of ignorance as well. And it's a bit of a shame. However, whilst we may complain about the African American and their look and how they see Africa, the African American, this subject is pretty convoluted, and it has to be straightened. How it's going to be straightened, I'm not quite sure. I come from a standpoint where I've grown up with non-Africans who are Black. I'm talking about Caribbean people. Who I've had a similar problem in my adolescence with them and how they looked at Africa. Today, however, there is such a community in the UK of Black people who are largely made up differently from Americans. They are largely made up of Caribbeans and African people. So this is the culture, more or less, in the UK. Whereas in America, they've had 400 years of being American, all of them together, Black, white, whatever you want. And in that, the communication almost comes through, I don't want to say white eyes, but somewhat blemished eyes in how they look at Africa. They have a love-hate relationship, as we all have with Africa. So what we have to commend the African American for is at least being at the forefront of most global Black issues, even if they emanate.
Let me interject right there.
From America, I'm just putting a balance where we can communicate with each other.
The current Black Americans are not their grandparents. The last 30 years of Black Americans. Huh?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch.
I said these current Black Americans are not their grandparents. The past 30 years of Black Americans are not their Black parents. These ones are distant. About 60% of today's Black Americans are distant from Black America.
This is what I'm saying to you. No, you got to listen. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying that the Black Americans have had 400 odd years of being in America, whereas we in Europe, largely we are made up of Caribbean and African Black people, and over 50 years of being in Europe, I would say there has been a more coming together, if you like, of a community where people understand where their heritages belong. Whereas America, the heritage and the belonging of Africa is quite distant for them, more so than the Caribbeans, more so than the Black Americans. You get me?
We should cut them a slack because you are right. Yes, you are right because
we got it. Yeah. Even though sometimes I listen to
we got to stop making excuses for them. We got to stop making.
I say this.
We have to sympathize with Black Americans because look at man. At the end of the day, nobody in the history of humankind have gone through what Black Americans have gone through. So what is the side effect of that? To every reaction, every action has a reaction. What is the side effect of 400 years of slavery?
Correct.
It has a side effect. So we can't keep saying that. Oh,
Brazil.
This is real.
Brazil. They went through hell in Brazil too.
And they went through hell. They went through hell everywhere. The only thing is, I will put to you,
and that's my point. They went through.
No, hell. It's a strong point. With the Jamaicans,
that's not a strong point. Sorry,
let me say this. Let me just say this, my brother.
Right.
With Jamaicans that I grew up with the Caribbean people that I grew up with in the UK, the ignorance that they came with in my adolescence was palpable. Your Jamaican, your African bubble. You guys don't wear clothes. This one, that one. It was every kind of crazy aspect. Me as a Nigerian growing up with this, I was wondering what the hell was people talking about because I knew myself very well. You understand? As a Niger, I just knew myself. So throughout the years, as much as I thought I knew myself, what I was learning from them as to what it was like in the Caribbean, what it was like throughout slavery, what it was like, the things that they went through. Learning this became palpable to me that
Exactly.
my brother from 400 years ago went through all of this, and somehow I'm
Survive.
meeting him again in the
Yes.
UK. This for me was a serious uh, mind swell
Revelation.
of the understanding of what it is to be an African in this world.
Right. And okay, so this is what I say comparing Brazil to America. See, America, it has a different historiography. America is the hub of capitalism. You get what I'm saying? So the competition that happened among different races on this land was intense. So in order for you to compete with these Africans who are 4 times stronger than you, they're 4 times smarter than you, they everything than you, the only thing you have is a gun. Then I have to play dirty. I have to make him hate himself. I have to because if you notice, almost of throughout 200 or 300 years, all Africans that were in this country did was shout Africa. All they did was shout Mama Africa. All they wanted was Mama Africa. It was on their mind 24/7. But
Well, for me,
the only difference with Brazil and here was that it seems like the Africans that were taken to Brazil had a more concentrations of a certain tribe, which was the Yoruba, which kind of made it easier for them to survive because they had that culture and everything. Unlike America, whereby it was just different Africans who were dispersed together. They could not speak their language. You guys, they don't understand themselves like that.
well, I'm sure that people would have grown into whatever Afrocentricity that they valued or needed. For me, growing up in the UK, it was the Rastafarians that
Right.
was pushing the African point of view. So much so
Roots reggae.
made everybody gravitate to the understanding that we are one. And this is those countries like Jamaica, like America, like Nigeria, like Ghana, like South Africa, those who are at the forefront, even though there is not so much of a political value to the Afrocentric mentality, even though that's not being, those countries at the forefront need to raise their game. If they raise their game, the rest of the world the rest of the black world would follow. And the black world is massive. We're not just talking about the Atlantic. We're talking about the Indian Ocean and Pacific as well. That this is there's a size of the black nation, the black world, and we need to begin to bring ourselves together. And I do say, and I agree that Nigeria is at the forefront of it. And if Nigeria can entertain an American headquartered military value in the country of Nigeria, that would be the greatest rubbish ever. You know, it's just not going the way the people really want it to go. The political class is doing something other than the people are really thinking on. So I believe the political class needs to really be swept away because they're not playing the game that we're playing. Believe me.
Yeah.
Let me pass it to Tell God, and then I'm gonna pass it to TTO. Go ahead, Tell God.
What's up, gentlemen? Really enjoying the conversation. I wanted to give the brothers in a perspective from Americans. What you have to understand is that the FBI was created basically to stop Marcus Garvey, right?
Mm,
Right.
yeah.
The Malcolm X was fine until he went internationally and became best friends with Pio da Gama and Nkrumah, and he came back to America talking about Pan Africanism. Like you have to understand the reason why they have us here. Capitalism has to have a loser. Capitalism
Yep.
has to have a
Message.
a punching
That's not
bag.
necessarily true. I think in capitalism, there's enough for everyone.
No, depend. No,
That
depend.
that
No,
I
that
don't buy that. I'm not buying that
no. Hold on,
capitalism.
is
hold on, hold on.
listen.
See,
No, no, no.
capitalism
Please
can
let
work
him
for
finish.
Africans.
Please allow the guy to finish. It's
Yeah,
not
I don't.
fair.
I disagree with that. I disagree with the.
I
He
mean,
hasn't finished.
we can
Let him put
disagree,
his
but
case forward, please.
we can disagree. But let me give you an example. The prisons in Mississippi, or like the prisons in the South, period, have now created an economy that not only funds the prison system, but it funds the state. It's one of the biggest income producing parts of the state. Now, I'm not a communist. I like to think of myself as a pragmatic Marxist. But because I've read those books and I'm watching it happen, it's amazing that more people don't see it. Well, a lot of people haven't read Marxist ideology. Like we in America, we get the capitalist uh 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 propaganda from early, like lift yourself up by your bootstraps. And I'm a person I consider myself successful. I have a brownstone in Brooklyn. I park my Tesla in front of it and charge it. You know what I'm saying? Like I've done well in life. Capitalism has been good for me. But for most people in America, they are very invested in the fact that we're the ones that are the disposable income. We spend the most money
Tell me,
on.
Dynast, why do you disagree with this point of view? I don't necessarily agree, but I want to know why you disagree so fervently.
I want to say something too.
Well, no, I'm gonna let tell God respond. I gotta pass it to TTL Lua. The reason why I disagree is I don't have a scarcity mindset. Like when you say there's only there have to be losers, I disagree.
And that can only apply
to
to
in
Africa.
in
Yeah,
order
there's
for there
enough
No,
to
for
but
be,
it's
how
a
do you think
system, though, isn't
profit
it?
is
It's a system.
how
We're
do you
not
there's
think
talking
profit
enough
about.
is made,
there's
Dinus?
enough for everybody in the
Dinus,
system of
there's not
If you are
enough
capitalism.
for
African,
everybody. There's a
yes, there's
finite
enough for everybody if
amount,
you're
and
African.
No, no,
the,
no, no. You guys are
Yes.
getting it all twisted. You're getting it all twisted, I'm afraid.
But
But
I'll give you
Well,
my
no,
explanation. But go ahead.
let tell God finish. I'm gonna pass it to TTL Lua. Go ahead, tell God.
yeah, no, I mean, all right. I'm trying to think of a good example that'll bring us together, because for the most part, I'm a fan of yours. I subscribe to the show. I watch it. I find everything that your whole movement to be commendable. So
Hey, tell God you got to come to Nigeria with me in August.
I I'm gonna be in Nigeria in July. I'm like I took the leap. But I will do one of your tours, because
You
I
got to
think
come to
it's,
Zanzibar in September.
you know what, I'm in the house like the East, because I'm trying to go to Africa at least 3 times a year. Especially since I can't go to Haiti. My house is on the road where all the supposed gangs are. But anyway, uh, capitalism has its flaws. Like I said, it's done well by me. I've done pretty well, but I I was the number two math student in New York City for like 2 years in a row. I've been writing code since I was 15. I started developing applications, right out of college, when at a time when they couldn't find programmers. I've done pretty well. But the point is, only a system like capitalism would create redlining in neighborhoods, where a person would pay twice as much of for a house, that so that they could live away from black people. And Lord forbid, let two black people move on their block, they'll move away again. It's You have to have a system where there is a class of people that is always on the hamster wheel, like, I gotta get it, I gotta get it. And now, with inflation being like the way that it is, people's retirement is not as valuable as what they thought it was just a short 15, 20 years ago. And and it's just the way that it is. There's a term, America eats its young. it's a real thing. And my hope of hopes is that Africa starts to unite. I think Pan-Africanism is the way. I think that the only way that you could apply the John Mearsheimer, power politique is to have population, is to have money, and it's to have a military in that order. And if you look at every action that the United States has made, whenever we get the idea in our mind to leave, whenever we get an idea in our mind, oh, we're going to group up together and go, they invest a lot into making sure we don't. And my question to you, Dynast, if you don't agree with me, why do you think that is?
I would like to say something to that, though. I would like to interject right
Well,
there.
let me pass it to TT Lua because he's patient. Go ahead, TT Lua, mute yourself, and I'll get back to your
I'm a
question.
she dynasty. I'm the only girl that comes on here. I'm a she.
I know.
But
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no. It's fine. I like what the Tell God said. Like, why is it every single time? I'm just, pick back in right now. Why is it that every single time they tend to infiltrate or try to get in between us when we are coming together, or when we actually, like right now, what you're doing right now, Dynasty, is something really great. When we are coming together, or when we are actually seeing each other, which they did, if you remember what they did in the past, okay, they have done that so many times in the past to all our leaders that tried to bring African Americans and Africans together, right?
Yep.
And it's quite interesting now that every one of us are actually staying away from the bubble, hopefully. When it comes to all of it, at the end of the day, it's I'm excited, and at the same time I'm like kind of sad that I'm hoping that everyone will be able to see through the lenses of what the US of A is doing to keep us behind. You get what I'm saying? So like I was telling someone the other time, they're on our necks, and the fact that they're trying to bring their base. I mean, they're literally building a brand new, like a whole new, big, extremely big embassy down here in quote
The
unquote. Let me
biggest
tell you,
American embassy in the world.
in the big, Atlantic City, by the way. Atlantic City. That's the name of the place they're building it at. Atlantic City in Lagos.
Mm,
Okay, island. That's the name, right? So,
that's right.
so it's quite fascinating. We should really sit down and think about that. And I really, really hope our president is not, I'm gonna say it, I don't care if it comes to my house, a fool. Okay,
I,
please.
I, I would like to reply to is it Tell God?
Yeah.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, hold on, TT Lua, are you done?
I will hold on for now. You can go ahead and reply.
Okay, go ahead.
See, we have to understand that when we are talking about capitalism or Marxism from our own point of view, we are talking about it from a European perspective. So yeah, is somebody defining capitalism who does not have capital, right? So European say capitalism, but they don't have capital, right? So in order for them to have capital, they have to steal from Africa. So their capital is based on African capital, African resources. So to me, that is a wrong way of looking at capitalism, because um, somebody who does not have anything cannot tell me that I have something, how to spend it or how to use it. So I feel like capitalism or Marxism can work better in Africa than in Europe. Europe needs to have class because they don't have resources. So they need hierarchy. So the person who can come up with the most capital will be the one who is going to do what, who is going to be the one to be the head of the society. Unlike Africa, whereby you have resources, multiple resources, then you
Right.
can say, okay, there's no scarcity here, because when the European wants to define economics for you, it starts with scarcity. But
Right.
that does not apply to Africa because there's no scarcity here. So that is to say, our own system must be different.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because
Now
the
you said it.
African
Now, because I was
system.
trying to, if I can say, because I was trying to follow everybody here, and I did like what um is it Telgard? I like what he had to say as to capitalism, because it is a formulated trap. It is a Ponzi scheme, if you like. Somebody who is a loser. However, the way it was well broken down by Cosmic to speak about the difference between scarcity and abundance, we have to understand that the principles that are governed by the European, be they Marxist or capitalist, socialist or whatever, these are findings from their own societies. There is a thing in West Africa, particularly, but it's the whole of Africa, and as well, which is our economy was always based on abundance, because we always knew the time when abundance was going to, it was a cyclical thing, that abundance used to happen. And it normally used to happen because of the flooding of rivers, and where abundance was given at the time of flooding. Whereas if there was not flooding, then there will be scarcity. So during the times of flooding, you would store and save. Now, all I'm trying to come to is that this philosophy has not been well enough studied to be a thing. So we find ourselves grappling with the Western and Eastern, if you like, points of view, which are not Afrocentric intrinsically. And I think this is an issue. So I put that forward.
Jagan, let me give you an example. This is an important one, right? In America, you see on the news every single day they're complaining about immigrants. They're complaining about immigrants. Really, the immigrants are coming to the border because they've been invited. A lot of people don't realize that, because as soon as they come across, there's companies that want to hire them, that want, like, but it's the jobs that nobody else wants to do. The picking from the farms. There was a big article in the New York Times about Dyson's Chicken, where they hired 1,900, no exaggeration, 1,900 immigrants. That I see on the news that it's a deluge of immigrants. What are we gonna do? We got such a big immigrant problem. The corporations are hiring them. You know why? Because they will work for less, and they could pay them less. They have no voice. They have no. They really have no agency. So that is an example of the functionality of capitalism. Now, Africa has to think of it in a different way. When you lived in a tribe or you lived in a village, some guys were hunter-gatherers. They would go hunt, they'd bring it back, everybody in the tribe eat. Then there's someone would do metal work. Someone would make another group would make the food. That's what we have to bring back to Africa, more an economy where there is collaboration on a high level, but in its principle, the economics match who we are as people internally. The way that we came up for 20,000 years before we met with the European, and our minds was changed. Even Egyptian culture didn't operate in the way that capitalism does today.
Absolutely not.
So if we could get back to just being us, I think that's
getting back to just being us. If I can just put this in, getting back to just being us is a deep procedure, and I'm not sure that we're on it. We're speaking around it, but we're not on it. We're not doing it. The level of not just action, the study of what it is to be us economically. This study is not going on in any practical way. I'm working on it myself, and I'm even perturbed, if you like, to spit it out. Well, I've been working on this for like 10 years. which is what is the economy of Africa? Why do Africans not, why do they not carry their legacy forward? Why does it only have one generation of wealth? There are only few African families that keep their wealth in the family. Normally, you have a rich uncle or a rich father, and by the time of his death, the money is gone, or the money disappears after his death. And this is a phenomena that is happening, decade after decade. We have not principled our economy. We haven't done it. We're just doing this fancy footloose way of living. And it's not practical for us.
Depending on other people to feed us.
Well, it's just not practical. It doesn't make sense. What we're doing doesn't make sense. And therefore, I implore all individuals who understand that it doesn't make sense to begin to think deeply about a different economics. Because, as I say, I'm working on it. And as I'm working on it, and whatever I'm coming up with, it's not sufficient. I can tell you what I'm doing isn't sufficient. I need assistance, if you like, to make sure that
we should
we can cut
exchange
this
information. We should exchange information
Exactly.
because I'm working on it too. I've been working on it for the last 3 years, and the challenge is, how do you lift 259 million people out
That's
of
right.
poverty? And
That's right.
you can't do that with capitalism. You can't not. And for me, it's not just that capitalism has a lot of good functions to it.
Definitely.
What you have to do is you have to take the good from the things that works
there must be
and put them together.
Capitalism. There must be an ethical aspect. There must be ethical capitalism. There must be a boundary that you don't cross.
Right. It has to be a capitalism with guardrails. Or what are you going to get?
I tell you how I see it and where I've come to in my studies, without divulging all. My aspect is that I put it under time, and I put it under 10 years, and I'll break it down into 3 year periods whereby certain achievements and movement would be seen. And I will say, in the first instance, capitalism needs to be kept more or less as it is, which is that we are playing their game. And in playing their game, we already have an understanding of this. And in playing their game, within the first 3 to 5 years, we are going to maximize. We're not going to ask for reparations. We're not going to ask for money out of the sky. We're not going to be doing this complaint, woe is me politics that we play out there, which doesn't count for nothing as far as I'm concerned. In the way the world is, people are just looking and laughing upon us. So we play the game, their game, for a good 3 to 5 years, where we are amalgamating. Right now, where Africa is concerned, this is the time to amalgamate in terms of the wealth that is being found, still being found in Africa, and the kind of wealth that we have on the ground. So given this, within the next 5 years, a country like Nigeria develops the whole of West Africa and the Francophone countries, right into as far as the Gabon and what do they call this place? Congo. Not DRC, the other Congo. Brasilia. Yeah, Brazzaville. Now, if we were to be able to do that, we would have an economy that is the greatest economy in the world. Just that part of West Africa. It will be the greatest.
What the challenges with that
wait, let me just try and land to let you know where I am in my
question that was a part of that.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Sure, I beg your pardon, my brother. I'm streaming out, and I'm trying to divulge what I've been working on over the last 10 years. And within this, if that part of West Africa and the Francophone countries are holding an economy that is based on its own currency within 5 to 10 years now, which will be the 10-year kind of time frame I'm working with, within 5 to 10 years, we will have the economy of the world. Why?
Go ahead. Sorry. Sorry.
Yes, I will put it to you that we would have an economy of the world if we are running in this route. And the running of this route means that there are very few mistakes because these people are looking for us to make a mistake. So there has to be very few mistakes. And I feel that the keeping of capitalism as it is, playing their game for the first 3 years before we switch it on them, this is the beginning. And that's my glib across the board mind frame. It is much more intrinsic than I'm saying, but still, I don't believe I found the level where I can say, guys, let's
I
get it.
understand
Let's
which
go.
what I'm about to say too, because that is what you just summed up now is what I was about to say. I'm going to say it this way. Okay, for a lack of better word, Marxism inside Africa, capitalism outside Africa. Within Africa, we practice collectivism.
Yes.
Outside Africa, we do capitalism. If you
Yes.
concentrate Africa, we are doing collectivism is owned by everything. Now, USA, you want something, England, you want something, China, you want something, come and buy it. Yes, the market price. Buy it. We take that money, we bring it back into the economy, collectivism. Now, and I also think that's already happening right now because I think one of the things we're also overlooking as Pan-Africans is the AES. The allegiance between Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. They just signed a contract about a week ago whereby Niger signed a $150 million contract to Mali, diesel, gas and diesel contract, whereby now gas and diesel is going to be cheap now in Mali. So those are the things we need to start implementing. We need to start looking at that AES. And I think one of the things that
you know, it's such a shame. You know, it's such a shame.
I think TT Alua was trying to speak. Go ahead, TT Alua.
Yes, please.
No, they can keep talking. I'm listening. I'm taking in the information.
Okay, listen. So guys, so I have to go pick up my son from school. I got a last minute call from his mom, so I gotta go get him. So I'll be back in like 30 minutes. You guys could continue without me. Is that okay? Or
that's wonderful, my brother. If you're doing it like that, that's capital, bro. You're trusting us very well, and we hope your son is good, and we hope to catch you back in about half an hour.
He's fine. His school's not far away. I just gotta pick him up from school. So I'll be back in like 35 minutes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like this is what I'm saying. Like one of the things that talking about Black America, right?
TTO, if I can, sorry, Titi, don't allow us men to push you around or make you push it when you want.
Now, Nigerian woman, I show you if you push
you cannot in no way or form push me around. I'm just very calm. I want to be what the ideologies are, and then I can sum up what I want to say. Does that make sense?
Good. Very good. Thank you, madam.
Can I respond to what you two just said?
Let me just say something real quick.
Let him finish. Let him finish, and you come back in, brother.
Don't change. Okay, don't change the subject though. Stay on.
We're on the subject.
Right. So now I feel like Black America, if they were organized, right, one of the things they can do was be a 6th region or a 7th region, right? Go to the African Union and register. Right, we are a 7th region. But now that I'm looking at it, the AES is somebody that I feel like other diaspora can start joining as a group and say we want to be part of this AES because that AES is going to be very big. It is going to be very, very, very big, and that's a very, very wealthy land. The Sahel region is very, very wealthy, and I think we need to start involving ourselves with the AES, which is Alliance of the Sahelian region or something like that.
Let me tell God, can I just quickly say this thing before you come in? Because Cosmic just reminded me of what I wanted to say with him. You see, it's a great shame that Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali were the ones to give us all the example of what it is to do. Because what they have done over the years that they have been looking to uproot. Let me land, Joe. Looking to uproot the European hegemony in their countries, France in particular, which is the mainstay. What they have done was an example for every African to look upon and see how to do things correctly. The first thing that Niger did was to remove by force their own president, which was the stool pigeon planted by the foreigners. He himself was a foreigner. He's not Nigerian at all. He's actually from Chad, I believe, that gentleman. when they were
He's an
successful in
he's an
removing
African.
Burkina, okay,
Mhm.
okay, thank you. When they removed him, they then looked to remove the French themselves. They did that in front of everybody's eyes, which was a tough thing to do, but they did it because they knew they had the power to do so. In that action, Nigeria, Tinubu foolishly wanted to go to some kind of
Agreed.
aggressive politics war with our brothers in Niger.
Who, by the way,
And I thought, what a foolish man. Wait, let me land, bros. But let this conversation. I want this conversation to go where we are giving ourselves and the audience understanding as to our aspects of what Africa is. The way I saw it, Nigeria should have been the one to do that for the whole of West Africa, but they haven't. And this is my issue. You know, we can start jumping around, but we have to really look really well at, are these three nations going to be the ones that spearhead it, or and do they need assistance, or are they going to be able to do it alone? And this is why I'm saying the politics of Nigeria is so fundamentally important that if we in Nigeria don't get this thing right, I won't just blame the politicians. We have failed the black
definitely,
world. So
definitely.
we all have to take a serious responsibility upon what's going on right now. I'll leave like that. And my brother, please come back in.
Tell God.
Tell God. Yes, sir.
Yeah, brothers. So what I wanted to say was the the most important thing on top. I mean, the third most important thing, right, is that you have to have a unified military, because the currency, like America's currency, is all based off of their military. They tell you their dollar's value at gunpoint. Um, and they tell you you're gonna take it for oil, you're gonna take it for gold, you're gonna take it for everything else,
Robbery.
right? And so what Africa has to do is they have to field an army that can protect what they protect what they have, because just like Zimbabwe, they came out with that gold backed currency. What every
Yeah,
investor understands is it's not even the corruption, or it's it's that America could pull up and put an
A gun.
aircraft carrier in your port, and there's nothing you could do about it. If they want
absolutely.
to if
You're
they
correct.
want to if they want to at any point destabilize your currency, and you don't have the military to make them go to, because it's not that anyone's going to have a military on par with them. It just has to get to the point where you're Russia, where you're something like China, you know what I mean, where you just have,
Yeah.
where it would
Or
just
North
be
Korea.
impossible for them to beat us militarily
Now,
without them
whilst
suffering
you
a
said
lot.
that, whilst you said that, and you're absolutely accurate in what you are saying, can you see that happening? And what is the way to make it happen if it's such a tricky thing?
I so another thing that I noticed in Africa when I traveled there is that it's Africa is very older centric, in the sense of, I know that's not a word, but you have a lot of people from the 1960s and 70s who are running
Position of power.
Africa. You see what happens with the young minds, with Traore and Mali, and look what's happening in
Mm,
Senegal. It's
mm,
younger, newer minds who, if you explained it to them, and if you reasoned with them, and they didn't have, relations with this foreign ID in the USA, and you got these friends in France that you go see, and like, it's not just the presidents, or the head guy. It's everyone around them. It's his entire cabinet that has been living this way forever.
yeah,
But
yeah,
if you make a pragmatic plea to the young people of Africa, and I include the North Africans as well, because when you talk to young North Africans, they're proud Africans, and they
No, I disagree with
understand,
you right there.
mm,
they understand what they're seeing across the water. Israel is coming to Africa next.
It's already in
After they're
Africa.
done with Palestine, Israel is coming to Africa next. And I believe
Right?
Pan-Africanism is the most pragmatic and sensible way that if you put it on paper, if you arm content creators throughout the continent, throughout the diaspora, to here's the plan, here's what we're doing, and this is why we must come together. It's an existential threat. If
Let me
Before
ask you
you
Africa does
something.
two
not
other
come
guys,
together, we will
before
remain
you
the
two other
doormat
guys
of the
come in,
world.
let me ask this question of the two of you, going on from what Telgard just said. Now, he's speaking obviously about things that we have various and variant points of view upon, but he has spoken about his own observation, which I think is valid. What, how, Afro Pan Africanism is an ideology which has never borne teeth. Understand me very well. So, whilst we go along with this Pan Africanism, how do we, is it just to conscientize, or is it really to be
Well, well, well,
principled?
well. Let me answer
Principled.
that.
Wait.
I mean,
Let me ask a question.
okay.
Let me understand the question. Is it to be principled to the point that security and the security of what we have is the most important issue? And how do we get that security? Please, let's try
Jalen,
and
if you
hold it on the
remember,
subject.
there was the Monrovia group and there was the Casablanca group, right?
Yep,
The
yep.
Casablanca
Yes,
group
yes, I know.
included Morocco, Algeria, Egypt. It was a sensible, they had sensible leadership, and it was a sensible conversation. Now you have history as your
Picture.
because you could say, look what Gaddafi did for Libya
I don't
and
trust him.
what Libya was before Gaddafi and after Hillary Clinton. Those people
Mm-hmm.
understand. If you remind them, there was two ideas. There was what the Casablanca group, that was Ethiopia and Mobutu, and those guys. They didn't want a Pan Africa, right? But look what happened. We've been getting. We still have not escaped neocolonialism. The white men are so brash that they get on live television, Eric Prince and his boys, that saying we have to recolonize Africa. The French general just said we have to recolonize Africa. They're
Yep.
not bluffing.
No, man.
They're
We
not.
know this.
Look,
We
can
So
I?
know
Can I?
this. Oh, yes,
I'm not.
please.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, you're not finished.
I
Oh,
agree 100%.
oh.
And I think with all of this going on, I'll first say this. The base is not gonna happen in Nigeria, whether they like it or not. It's not gonna happen.
Oh, man,
They
I'm
should
coming.
even take that out of their mind. It's not gonna happen. That's a
Nope.
fun fact.
Nope.
The
What
second
makes
thing,
you so sure?
Israel, they're trying to play a pawn. I mean, I should not say that out loud on the internet, but they're trying to use us as pawns to try to come in and take over. You know, and I believe that is probably when I have to say this. I love my fellow Nigerians, but that's when we're gonna wake up because we're not seeing what is really going on right now.
Nigerians
You know,
are integrationists. You see, the people I fear most in this endeavor of Pan Africanism is Nigerians. Nigerians are what I call most Nigerians are what I call educated dummies. Right? They know how to read. They know how to
they're
read.
not.
They know how to write. They know how to
Yes,
speak
yes,
English, but they don't
yes.
know how to make
That,
sense of the world around them.
exactly, exactly. I
You get
don't
what I'm
know who you
saying?
are. I'm gonna give you tigi shenap, three gusas for you.
Three go, sir. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I said when Israel comes in, you know, that is when they're gonna realize what is really going on. Because I don't want Israel here. I know Israel's gonna try to force themselves in, whether we like it or not. America's
They
not
were in
gonna
the
come.
African Union now that the Lady Panda had to send them out of South
You
Africa.
see? You see? So
And
I know
hold
they'll
on,
force
hold on
them
right there,
in.
Titi. Titi, hold on, please. And
Uh-huh.
that is where the African Union also come in. The African Union is useless.
Very.
Can you believe that everything about African Union is being sponsored by outsiders, America,
Yeah.
China. Musa, that African Union chairman, Musa, he must be sacked. He is useless. He has no verve. He has no vitality. He's just somebody you can just tell. He's somebody you can just push around. You get what I'm saying? But back to okay, go ahead, finish. I want you to finish.
Yes, no, it's okay. I agree with you 100%. A lot of them in the African Union can push, like they can literally push them around. I agree with you 100%. But the fact being that where I'm going to is that Nigeria is going to end up being the one. Please don't come at me, but it's going
He
to
will
end
be
up waking
ostracized
up.
away from the rest of Africa.
It's going to end up because the rest of Africans are already aware. Congo is going through it, so they know who their enemy is. You get what I'm saying? What is their name? Uganda, you know who their enemy is. South Africans, they know their enemy, but Nigerians don't know the enemy.
You
get
they
what I'm
think they
saying?
know. Nigerians
They
think they
think
know.
they
Lori
know.
Burukuni, Nigerian youth. A
Congo,
Nigerian youth will take
they don't
Nigerian
know.
youth will take a knife to a gunfight. You want to fight a
Exactly.
Nigerian youth with a gun, he will bring a knife.
He will bring a knife. So they don't know who their enemy is. Only a few of them are aware of who the enemy is. And those are the few that are like exposed. Like I was talking to a bunch of youngsters, and they don't even realize how endangerment they are in when I was explaining to them that if US base come here, we are in trouble.
US
Not
based
even
here.
we are in trouble.
Titi, let me tell you something I saw about 3 weeks ago. Do you know that Bill Gates is already friends with one of an influential Igbo guy in the East? He took a picture with him. Bill Gates took a picture with this guy in the
not
East.
surprised.
So
But
these
that's
people are they are infiltrating us from a certain perspective. They are infiltrating us through our elites.
Because they are smiling. But the thing is, you also have to remember who we are as Nigerians. We are the children of what? Wisdom. We always use common sense at the end of the day. The thing is, we don't know who the enemy is, but I know that at the end of the day, we will be forced to align ourselves with whom we're supposed to align ourselves is. And one thing for a fact is,
I have to jump in.
Go ahead.
You see, again, the two of you are so correct, but again, the thing is very convoluted. And where we want to castigate, we have to remember that there's so much Pan-Africanism that comes out of a country like Nigeria that goes on almost unspoken, underlined. We don't even know it's happening. But we still remain somehow the strongest of it's very difficult to put this into words. Where I sit, I'm very well versed in the African nations right across the world, America, Brazil, Caribbean, Southern Africa, Eastern Africa, West Africa, North Africa. I know them. I know us. And in knowing us, European Africans, in knowing us, there's something about the Nigerian that I think everybody recognizes. And I don't know if the Nigerian themselves really recognize it. And I think it's the misconsciousness that we are going through. I think
miseducation.
Well, consciousness, the real consciousness, where we are directed correctly. I think once we grab this, once we grab this, I think we will be able to push forward much more vigorously.
Easy.
And I believe that this consciousness has to be augmented in terms of we have the internet. We have to be speaking to ourselves in such a way that we are bringing out the gifts that are still hidden. You see, where sports is concerned, let me give you an understanding of this like this, with a comparison to sports. We've seen the Black Americans being so strong.
the reason why America is dominant at sports in the Olympics and things like that now.
Well, let me land. I go make her say my own now, my brother. You know, we go say I'm for me now. The Black American, the Black Americans have been so forward in showing the world who we are as Black people, and through athletics, through sports, boxing, any kind of dimension, they are number one. Then when you look across the Jamaicans and the Caribbeans are coming through. We know the Brazilians are there with their own thing. They're
Knockout.
just there. Then the Africans we don't dare, but there's something about the Nigerian whereby they're performing all, but they're not performing at the level that they're supposed to be. And I believe that gap is what needs to be bridged in terms of what it is that we need to bring out of ourselves as Nigerian people to really lead this thing, because we're not leading it. We have all the reason to lead it, but we're not leading anything. And this, for me, is the biggest problem. To complain about Nigeria, it just gives me a headache, because we know the idiotic problems.
I think it's the fact that, like what his name was saying, is the miseducation. And as a Nigerian, I would say about, if we look at, I'm right here right now, right? I'm so grateful I'm right here. I was a science graduate in educational field, okay? In America, I was stationed. And coming to Nigeria, I don't even know why I'm here. I always ask myself. But looking at
bio.
Eh?
Mobile bio.
What did you say? Emma, yeah, welcome. Anytime. I didn't mean that now.
Our brother is saying, "Oh, man, God, my soul, you're over CEO."
I didn't mean that. No, I didn't mean that. But my point is that being that looking from an outsider, looking at the educational field, and being a person that was in the educational system in America, I've seen the problem the American system have against when it comes to Black kids. I'm going to group everybody together in America. When it comes to Black children, when you're Black, you're Black. They don't say anything else. And when it comes to Nigeria, against also, I would say Black children. And yes, we are intelligent book-wise. We are smart. Book-wise, we are intelligent.
But we lack the technical know-how. Go ahead.
We lack empathy toward one another, because we lack the one, empathy. Two, we lack being able to use what we have actually gained and apply it in the system that we are in. We haven't been, something I was telling, we haven't been taught on how to love ourselves. Because I'm here and I'm looking at certain educational system. They have good ideology. Okay? They have good ideology, but then the teachers are not well trained. The education that they are teaching the children. You are telling me to go and cut my child hair, and I'm explaining to you that I understand that is hot, but the heat is very hot. If it is going to your head, it's going to affect your brain. You don't even know that it's going through your skull. And I was explaining that I don't want to cut my kids' hair because it's so hot. The hair is protecting them from the sun. People don't even realize this. You know,
let me say something real quick.
Yeah, but my point, I'm going to stop 1 second. My point is that she's not understanding what I'm trying to explain to her. And second, I said, why would they cut their hair? It's part of them. You know, she's looking at me like I'm crazy. And when I'm trying to explain to her why she should love herself, you know, but she's so used to the European system, of getting rid of everything about you that make you African. Imagine telling a child that is an African to come to school looking nice, incorporate. But a native doesn't look nice.
Let me also say something to that. Let me also say something to that.
I'm gonna 1 second. My point is that we need to learn how to love ourselves. We don't love ourselves 100%. At all.
Yes.
I'm gonna stop it there. Yeah.
No, what I just wanted to add to what you're saying, because I graduated high school in 2007, right? And I went to D Unique International in Lagos State, right? And one of the problems in this school education was the fact when they removed practical. I remember that my big brothers, about 20 years ago, they used to do theory and practical. So if the practical did not work, you know that something is wrong with your theory. They removed that. They removed the practical side of things. So most Nigerians now, they can only theorize. They don't know how to put that theory into practicality. So which now leads to the fourth problem. Because of that, we lack the technical know-how. How to do things, how to make things work without having the things that you need, all the things you need. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just adding to that. They remove practical from school because they know that if they include practical, we will look at Nigeria.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this.
1 second, Jagon. It's like the man that actually, so funny enough, this man that's working for us right now, he knows how to, he said he learned how to build, Listen, he learned how to build in school. I said, when? He said in high school. That is when he learned now. I said, why don't they have that now in this generation? Even my husband, okay, he grew up in Nigeria all his life. He said he knows how to farm. He knows how to grow food. When I was growing in my backyard when I was in the state, he's the one that would tell me what to add to the plant to help it.
Yes, now.
Because he was taught in Nigeria. He's the one that even let me know all this
they've removed all those things from school now.
On your veggies.
And they have removed all those curriculum from school. They have removed all those because as an African who have the richest soil in the world, because in Nigeria, for example, that I know of, you can plant anything literally anywhere, it will grow.
My banana tree is growing right here in my backyard.
You know what I'm saying? So one of the main things that we need to learn, teach them is farming. But hold on, before Jagun comes in, Jagun, you asked the question earlier talking about, okay, Pan-Africanism is an ideology. And I agree with you, it's been an ideology for so long. So that is why we have to find a way to connect with other Pan-Africanists and start and create a Pan-African conference. There needs to be a modern day Pan-African conference.
Interesting. I would agree. I would agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? That every Pan-African, however we're going to do it, I think that it should be physical. I think it should be physical. I think if you call yourself a Pan-African, you should be able to sacrifice to come wherever you are. For example, let's say in the United States. Let's say in the United States now, we say, okay, LA. Anywhere you are from around America, you should be able to sacrifice and come to this conference. Or we take it online.
No, I like that idea. You see, my background, I do a lot of things in terms of the media. My background is media, trading commodities as well. And currently, I produce Zobo in England, and I distribute Zobo. I manufacture it here. I buy my product in from Egypt, from Sudan, from Nigeria, from Jamaica. This is where we buy the actual plant, and we bring it in and we manufacture it here. So as a person who is involved in business, what you speak about is very significant to me as far as a Pan-African conference. It hasn't actually taken place.
And it must be functional. Sorry to cut you off. It must be
functional. Since those days back in the early 60s and such, or the 1800s, there was one.
Yeah, 1910 in England.
Yeah. Anyway, my words to what we are grappling with at the moment. We are talking about the possibility of America bringing a military household into Nigeria. We're talking about the economy of Africa at the moment, looking at the economy of the world. And as I think it was Cosmic who rightly put, the West has no economy anymore. They're just printing money. So there's no economy in Europe. There's no economy in America. The people that have money in this world right now are Arabs and the East, Chinese in particularly. Where we have our economy is still under the ground. The thing above the ground are the humans, which is the biggest economy. What are we going to do is what I'm really wondering as to the aspect of our society, the people that we are bringing in, the people that we are training, educating into this new world that we are finding ourselves entering into. What are we going to do as to our security? What are we going to do to hasten and harness the economy in such a way that it becomes practical and real for us? Because we here who are speaking, we may not feel that we are of the elite, but we are of the elite because we are in the Western world and we have a viewpoint on the world that is much more clinical, much clearer than those of our brothers and sisters in Africa.
And let me interject right there. Let me interject, and I think that's going to be the job of Pan-Africanism. And today's Pan-Africanism is to look at the world from the perfect perspective in relation to Africa and Africans. As Africans, with the leverage we have culturally, natural resources, what is the best perspective we can have of the world? And through that perspective, we operate with the world like that.
I think first we have to understand how the word operates with us first. I'm sorry I caught in
Oh,
right
yeah,
that.
oh, exactly. I've always
Yeah,
said that because oh,
we
go
have
ahead,
to
go ahead.
we have to first first look at how the word operate with us. Once we are able to see how they're operating with us, okay, and reflect on that, then we need to also look inward how we are operating with one another. And how we are operating with one another, setting a base with one another, and having an understanding with one another. Okay, like
Mm,
what Dynasty is doing right now, bringing together different group of people where we are able to communicate with each other. Okay, we are having a
mm,
communication where it's bringing a stability among us. And some African Americans, I believe, are also in the chat or in the group, and also someone from 80, I believe. Tell God is from 80. IT.
mm,
So I believe that being able to see within within one another from that standpoint, then we can be able to reallocate this back outward or put this back outward to this individual. Like someone was mentioning before, like practice capitalism with them, okay? Practice capitalism with outsiders, and then practice togetherness with insiders. Am I answering? Am I saying it correctly, or am I just talking?
No, no.
uh,
Oh, we're listening to you.
yeah.
My own look at they see the most important thing for us as Africans is organization. We can
Yep.
intellectualize all we want.
Yes. Yes.
Intellectualism without organization is rubbish.
That's
Like
right.
Kamakio Stokely, Kwame Ture, which known as Kamakio Stokely, said,
Yes.
"You organize a little, you get a little. You organize big, you get big. You organize a whole lot, you get a whole lot." So what we must organize is not only our thoughts, it's not only our intellectualism, but it's also
Mm.
our money.
Well said.
We
Well
must
said. You
be
see,
imaginative. Go ahead.
you remind me of what I wanted to say earlier when I was rambling. You spoke about practicality, and I think this is fundamental because a lot of Nigerians have been trained away, as you rightly said, from artisanry, using your hands, being practical. We've all bought into the super educated elite world where until you have masters or you're not a complete human being. So with this, there was a time when I was young here in England. Most of the people that used to work on our house here in the UK were of Caribbean extract, and they used to do a great job. They were hands-on people, plastering, painting and decorating, uh, brickwork, carpentry, plumbing, all of the electrician, all of these people that used to come into our house that worked on our house were of a Caribbean. I'm sure it's the same in the States, whereby in the States they still have practical hands, whereby the artisanry within Nigeria is gone. It's not, you know that we used to be the best artists in the world with all of the artifacts that we have that they stole from us, especially in Nigeria.
We
Where
are naturally a creative people. We are actually a
now,
creative.
now I'm just
Yeah.
saying that this thing is missing in our polity in Nigeria. You know, as somebody rightly said, I think it was UTT that said that teachers are no longer really respected, and they're not as good as they used to be. And
Nope.
it's such a funny thing. All these things that make a nation work practically, that keep a nation in maintenance, ongoing. These things are missing from Nigeria, and it needs to be re-engaged. And I feel that here in Europe, especially London, where I'm from, where I'm living, I know I can bring a bagger man to Africa who would put back in the artisanry into our nation that would give that practical um, um, uh, feel of what do you call it? The capacity to get things done as opposed to just speak about them.
Jagun,
These, these people are missing in our nation.
Jagun, and tell God. Tell God, can you hear me? Tell God. Oh, tell God is no longer there. Jagun, can you help me, right? I have this big idea, right? And I feel like I'm not the only one that I can't do it alone.
Mm,
I'm looking for 10, 20, 100 diasporans we can go to Nigeria and go create another soccer league. An average Nigerian stadium, to build an average Nigerian stadium is not more than 20 million to 30 million naira. That's about maybe $100,000 a year. And look at the population of Nigeria alone. Nigeria is about over, let's say, 300 million. Nigeria is 300 million at least. I don't believe Nigeria is 230 or 50. Nigeria is way over that. And out of that population, about 60% are soccer fans, like crazy soccer fans.
Oh, easily.
And when I did my calculation that a well-run league in Nigeria is run like your Premier League, right? Which is easy. Every 3 to 4 months, the Nigerian Soccer League will be taking in nothing more than 4 to 6 trillion naira.
Now, so
think bigger, my friend. Think bigger.
let me, my brother, let me say this to you, Cosmic. You are thinking on a real deep level, because these are living in the UK. Again, when it comes to sports, my older brother was a sportsman of high quality. In fact, all of us were sports people. My older brother, he was the one. There was no sport that he couldn't play, not one, and not just play at a high level. In terms of where I grew up here in Southeast London, people like Ian Wright, I know them. Ian Wright, if you know him, he lives down the road. Rocky Rocastle, who died, he used to go to my school. You know, all these people, they're just around me. And they were not the best of the ballers that were in our area growing up at it. They were nowhere near the best, but they were just the ones that made it. Now, let me put this to you. When it comes to African sports and football in particular, I see that our talent is being drained out and being trained differently from the training that we have back home, where we are skillful.
Yes.
The skillfulness is kind of being trained out of us in a way to do a job of the European kind of football. However,
you said that. Hold on.
No, let me land. I go land for you, my brother. I go answer your question.
I just want to real quick, but go ahead.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Now, we can make a super league in Nigeria.
Yes.
But I don't believe that's the way it should go. I believe that we should make a super league that is African right across the board.
No, but look at it.
Let me land.
Okay.
Now, Nigeria would have first, second, third division, let's say for argument's sake. And then we would have a division that now transitions those winning teams to the Super League of Africa. So in Africa now, the Super League is Super A and B, which is now we have a two-tier 30 or 20 team league, 2 tiers of 20. So you first gravitate to the second and then to the first of that Super League. That Super League will be the best of the African teams right across the board, but you will still operate a league. Now, I'm telling you that if we are thinking on the right lines, I have people that I can put this to, and not that they will fund it, but we will get international funding for a super league.
We don't want international funding. We want.
Right, it can't work. It can't. Not that it can't work other way, otherwise.
No.
But I'm saying the kind of expertise.
It can work. It can work. It's our own problem to solve. We don't need international. We don't need white money. We need.
Bros. We don't have to. Bros, when we're looking at certain things, we don't have to look at it in black and white terms. We have to look at it in how it serves our nation.
That we must build for ourselves without anybody's help.
Yes, now I won't argue with you. You're correct, but I'm saying that if you look practically about what it takes to build one football team, and then you're talking about building a nation of sports around football, and then you're thinking about building a continent around the same thing, bruh, you are going, if it's not cash funding you are going to need international expertise. Believe me.
But I agree with you. We're going to need international expertise, but we can get our black international expert. We can get CDOF. We can get Iron Rights. We can get a Rijkaard. We can get those black, our own black internationalists. You get what I'm saying? We can get those. But let me get back to what you're saying. I agree with you, right? But I don't think creating this league in Africa will be hard at all, because everything is already in place. It's not going to be hard, especially in Nigeria. It's not going to be hard. All we need is money and organized mission, organized movement. Okay, let's say we have 20 black billionaires or multi-millionaire. All they need is almost like just to bring to Africa individually 20 to 30 million naira. So, sorry, 20 to 20. No, sorry, what am I talking about? $5 to $10 million. That's what they need. If you have about $50 to $150 million in your account, all you need to invest in one team, because 10 million naira is how much in Nigeria? That's billions of naira.
Well, I didn't want to go too deep. I was just telling you that I'm thinking on this level. So yeah, we can exchange details, and I can show you what I've got on the table, and compare it to what you have, and see if there's any application to be done.
I am
But I want make we hear from Tell God.
Okay,
I
tell
want
God.
to yes, sir. I want to hear his interjection, and if I can say to I think it's Mary Claire or something like that. He or she has a spanner next to your name. There's somebody in the background that wants to come on board. I don't know if you can do that, as Dynast is not
Only Dynast can do that. He has the control panel.
only Dynast. Okay, fair enough. We continue.
Yeah, but I wanted to add on to what you were saying, just to as an allegory, as and by the way, I'm a big football fan. I'm a suffering football fan.
Go
I'm a
on.
Manchester United fan. So
Oh, you man, go for it. Go for it.
but I wanted to say, like, here's the other end of the Pan-African conversation, right? Who's gonna beat us in world football? I mean, in FIFA, World Cup football, if we
Mm,
were one nation. Nobody is beating Africa.
Nobody. Black
Even if you
Americans
didn't
showed us
even if
that.
you didn't get the black players from the diaspora, let them have
mm,
Mbappe and everybody else. If you just took the guys who play, if you built an all-star team from AFCON,
mm.
nobody's beating that team.
No.
So even NBA basketball, if you now have
Yeah.
Embiid and Giannis and all the African players,
LeBron.
you could have LeBron too, because guess what? LeBron is an African. Do
Simple.
you see how they steal our resources?
Absolutely.
I was
There's
seeing.
the human
I
resource
was.
is the most important because it's the most
Yeah,
flexible.
because France
Absolutely,
is not winning World Cups back to back if they don't have Pogba and Mbappe and all these guys.
And if
man.
you also notice,
It's
okay, go ahead.
the level of disrespect to what, like, when I'm watching some of these European games and I'm laughing, I'm seeing all these African names in these other countries. It just tells me that if Pan-Africanism ever, if you could ever get 40 states to agree to it, you need all of them, because if you don't have all of them,
I have to ask you a question, my brother.
go ahead.
Have you ever been to Nigeria?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
good.
I went to Lagos in 2022.
I see. Because you see, when you speak, it's almost like you've been to Nigeria. Because you see, when you go to Niger, particularly Nigeria, I mean, you could go to any African country, but because there are so many people in Nigeria, and if you travel around Nigeria, you just see them. You see people coming out of the ground, mate. There's so many people and so many different people. Then you think to yourself, the amount of talent that is just all around me. It's crazy,
Yep.
Massive.
crazy. So what you're saying is serious, which is possibly. I mean, there are 54 countries, but when you talk about Nigeria alone, there are good. I don't know, 500 different individual ethnicities. And then you look at the whole of Africa in itself, and you're talking in the thousands of different ethnicities,
Right.
people that are coming with different things. It's like, my goodness, mate, the amount of talent is
Nigeria
too
is a
much.
country of many nations. It's a. I
It's
remember
too
when
much.
my dad used to tell me about when he was in the NYSC, and they used to have this thing called it's a national cup, whereby everybody from every ethnicity, they will perform in this soccer tournament. They said it used to be very, very, very interesting, very competitive, and it brought the whole country together during those time in the 70s and 80s in Nigeria back then. And it's just those things that we just got to be, like you said, it's something about perception. We are not perceiving our reality correctly. Somebody is is creating our reality for us, and we are not aware of that. So, but for me,
But we're not blind though. We do. If when I said
because
it to you before,
because you
right?
got eyes don't mean you can see, my brother. Because you got eyes don't mean you can see. Because you got eyes don't mean you got sight.
That's true. That's
You
true.
know,
That sight and perception is two different things.
you get what I'm
Mm.
saying. So, but me, I'm just I've been on this thing for the past because okay, for example, right? Let me tell you guys this thing. I tell this to everybody, anybody close to me, right? Growing up in Nigeria, I wanted to become a soccer player, right? I really wanted to become a soccer player, but nobody told me go to the Nigerian league because nobody at that time really rated Nigerian league. But this was everything in me was telling me that this was my way. Do you know Kevin De Bruyne on Jagun?
Of course.
Me and Kevin De Bruyne were born the same month, the same day, the same year,
Okay.
and I wanted to become a soccer
Oh,
player.
you're a very young man. You're a very young man. Oh,
No, I'm 34.
you're sounding like you're 64, my brother.
You know what I'm saying? I'm 34, but
I see.
no, sorry, 33. I'll be 33 this June. Sorry, me and
Okay.
Kevin De Bruyne, and so to me, I was looking at that. I wish Nigeria had a soccer league because everything in me was telling me, dude, this is your way. Go and play soccer. Go and play soccer. But the environment that I was in did not help me. The only difference between me and Kevin De Bruyne was that he grew up in an environment that enabled him.
Right. Right.
So now my mission is okay. I'm also a businessman. I live in Los Angeles now.
Mm.
I'm like, okay, even though I don't have the money to start illegal, how about if I can just bring up 20, 30 African Americans, wealthy Nigerians, and together let's create our own soccer league that is big. Like, look at the NBA, look at the NFL. They don't need no other people. They just have their own organization, and it's huge. It's just a bunch of rich Jewish men who brought their money together. And again, it comes to the question that we need to learn how to copy the right things. We need to
Mm.
learn. We need to learn how to know when to copy the things our enemies are doing. And say, you know what? He's my enemy, but God damn, he's doing that shit well. Let me copy it. So we don't. What we need right now is 20. All what we need for a Nigerian league, because Nigeria already has a league. It's called the MPFL. All what we need to create another league is almost like $100 million. Just 20, 30 people with $100 million, take it to Nigeria in less than 5 years, my brother. I'm telling you, the league will be making a whole lot of money. And it's going to so much employment too. So now we have a division one, like you said, Jagun, then we have a division two, then we have a division three.
Mm.
Then once that is already established, then we move to Ghana. Then once that is established, we move to South Africa.
It could work.
And we just keep moving.
It could definitely work. But the other thing that you have to keep in mind is it can only get as big as your market. If
What are you talking about? Tell God,
No,
Nigeria.
no. Let him finish now.
Hear what I'm saying. Hear what I'm saying. If you have a market that's 100 million consumers, that's not enough,
But
right?
I'm just only saying Nigeria alone because anything that is done in Nigeria is watched by the rest of Africa. You get what I'm saying? So that's just Nigeria alone. So once we do this thing right, we are also looking about another 300 million for the rest. 300 million again. Because now if we also include Jamaica, we include Trinidad and Tobago, we include Black America, we include Black Colombia. I'm talking like a well-run league that is up to par like the Premier League. Right?
You do it just like them, and you create grassroots. You
Right.
have academies,
Yes.
and you and the way that the way that the economics you build a league that's bigger than the Premier
That,
League. The Premier
easily.
League
Way
is a
bigger.
global
What is
league.
the
No.
population of league?
Wait, guys. Let's understand the football world, seeing as we're on this subject. Because I wanted to move away from this subject. I didn't want it to become our main thing. But
Okay.
however, look at Japan League and look at what they've done. I don't know if you follow football to that. Look at China,
I do.
and not only look at what they've done, their technicality of the way. Wait, please. The technicality in the way the Japanese play. If you've seen the growth in the last 10 to 15 years, right now they're at a serious level. Then we look at what the Saudi Arabia is doing with football. They've got a league together. They've got the money. They just put that money down, no problem. And they've got all the superstars coming in. and that they don't have a lot of talent, I would suggest, necessarily, from what they don't have it compared to the rest of the world. Yet they have a super league that superstars are flying to go there. So we know, obviously, that football in the world is the number one sport in the whole planet. So when you talk about somebody like Pele, and those of us who are Yoruba, we understand the word from when I was young, and there was somebody called Pele on the planet. When I used to look at Pele on the TV in black and white, or back in those days, I'm an old boy. You get me? In black and white, I was used to looking at Pele and the magnificence of this individual. And then he's bearing a Yoruba title. And I'm thinking, what? Pele? And I'm looking at him, thinking that he's not even an African. Then it came to my attention that slave trade took place and that we went there. And then I looked at Pele and I found out, Pele looks like my dad. He has the same forehead, the same face. I'm thinking, that's just very funny. Then I made the relationship, this is just growing into the African world, as it were. If we understand that Pele is an African, and this is the level of talent that we have inside of Africa, bro, it's just another one of those things that has us take over the world.
Yep.
That's actually where we sit as a black people. There is a big gap.
There's some kid in the sand that's digging for uranium.
Absolutely.
That's probably has the most football ability on the continent, and we've got him, digging in mines and being child employees. That's what I mean by the market. It's not just the market of fans. It's the pool you're drawing talent from.
Okay.
If you cast a wider net, the next international superstar is coming from the continent.
Absolutely.
That was the point that I was trying to make. If you cast a wider net, I understand that if you say Nigeria, it's a more manageable, more structured, and there should be a Nigerian league, right? But but if you're thinking big, if you're thinking to be on the level of the NBA, the NFL, the Premier League, right? What makes those leagues billion-dollar leagues is television.
Absolutely.
It's how many people are going to watch it, the ratings, how many people are going to be on the internet. I know it would go crazy because I've seen AFCON. I've been in Africa when it was AFCON.
2 billion people watch the AFCON. 2 billion, more than even the Euro Cup and
Imagine.
That's what I'm saying. That you just said it with your own mouth. That is why I'm a Pan-Africanist. It's for that opportunity. It's not only just in the sports side of things. I'm also talking about things like, let's say, a young developer creates the African TikTok, something else, call something else, but functions similarly, and it's used primarily on the continent.
You see,
that's 1.2 billion of your core users.
Exactly.
Yes,
and I think this base of organization, like if we can create this football organization, it can span other things like that. Because if the organization is created
it's just like he said now. He said that we're not just talking about football, we're talking about practically everything else. Right. Everything. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be sports, it could be administration, it could be industry. It doesn't matter what it is.
But this is what I'm saying.
Wait.
Right.
I'm not looking out for us to fix on any one issue. It's the fact that we have so much talent, so much opportunity, so much resources, yet very little time, I believe, to play the game. Because the fact of the matter is, there is still the capturer, the catchers, they're still here. I talk about the catchers, and I give them that name for this reason. The other day, me and my friend were in a car. We were driving tangibly, not at any fast pace, through, and we were flashed, and the flash was the camera on the road, and the camera on the road was depicting 20 miles per hour, and we were doing something like 25. You understand? We weren't really racing ahead, we were just ambling, but it was a 20-mile-an-hour route. And I'm looking at myself and I'm thinking, the white man who operated this thing, he's sitting in his bedroom and he's caught us They've been catching us since the days of slavery. Or now they've done it so augmentality, or I know that's not so well that they don't even need to be there when they're catching us. So we have to have the understanding that these people are watching us all,
Oh
and
yeah,
we've got a
definitely. I
great
wanted to say
job
that
to
earlier.
do. We've got a great job yet still to do, and much of it has to be done in the open, and much of it has to be done in secret.
And we also have to have our
We
own
have to
occult
get that
society.
alchemy right. We have to get that shit right. You
And
understand?
Gentlemen,
Jagu,
I'm gonna go put the phone on the charger. I want to say thank you for like having this conversation. This gives me so much hope.
Wow,
And
man.
please tell Dynast that I said he has a great thing going, and he
Yes,
has to
sir.
keep it going. It's gonna be much bigger than what it is now. It's already pretty big. You know, I randomly at my son's basketball game, I was watching a video in the corner while they were warming up, and they were like, "Oh, you watch Dynast too?" I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah,
But
Dennis is the man. I've been watching him here and there since his beginnings. You know, he's been saying a lot. He's been saying a lot of
I mean,
strong things, especially coming from America,
I
with such
believe in what he stands
a
for.
poised voice. And you see, he speaks a lot for Nigeria. I think he did a DNA or something, and he's Nigerian or something. But
Same, me too.
the
I'm
whole, if
37% Nigerian. The
yeah, the
most of
whole
anything else.
aspect. You see, Nigeria is not inviting anybody. Nigeria is not Ghana. It's quite different. And whilst I salute you for all it's done, Nigeria is quite different. You have to, if you find yourself in Nigeria, you're a Nigerian. And it's as simple as that. If you're afraid of coming to Nigeria, it's best you stay away. You understand? Because you're not going to be able to handle it. Nigeria is a real place. And if you don't want to be real with yourself, or don't go there. It's very, very simple.
Yep.
Nobody's
And
inviting you.
that will reflect
However, my brother,
Well,
tell God,
well,
tell
thank you.
God,
Well,
you've
thank
been
you
a
both.
great
Thank you
guy,
both, and
man. I've
thank you,
enjoyed
King.
what you had to say, and I'll ask you to allow God to tell you as well.
Hey, but Jagu,
It actually doesn't mean that, but yeah, I get it. It's good though.
Yes, sir.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much
Thank you,
for
my
letting
brother.
me be a part of this.
Thank you,
Yes,
Tel.
sir.
Yeah, bro.
Take care.
Yeah, Jagu, I want to say something, right?
Yes,
See,
sir.
one of the things we must also start doing, these words play, colonization. Africans need to start calling colonization theft. So instead of you using the word colonization, you will say armed robbery.
Now
The
so.
armed
War.
robbery of England.
Now
The armed
so.
robbery of America. Stop using those fancy words.
Ogun. Ogun gidi. Jagu ogun gidi.
You get what I'm saying? Let's start, because you see, when they use this word play to make what they do sound nice.
Yes, sir.
So one of the things our media needs to start doing is, invasion of England. Instead of using all these fancy words, colonization, armed robbery, theft.
Bros, we have to understand, you see, we have to understand this thing called language. It's a fantastic thing. And it's good that we are Yorubas, because as Yorubas,
I guess so.
there's something in our language where it go deep and then deep and then deep some more. It doesn't stop from entering deep. So when we grapple with the English language, we have to understand that these people are wizards, and their language is quite pointed.
Correction, it's not their language.
Well. Let's just keep it on a base. Their
Okay.
language is pointed and is full of wicker. If you understand what is wicker.
You're talking
Now,
about scientists. Go ahead.
this is where we have to understand how smart these people are, and how we have to use our own sword correctly, because they're wielding their sword, and if we don't wield ours,
exactly.
we go die, or we go die under the sword.
Exactly, Jaguar. And that's what I'm also saying. Like, if you look at the elites of the European, they have an occult aspect to them, like the Masons, the Illuminati,
Not so now,
and all those things. You see, and all this scientific knowledge, right? Occult just means hidden. All this scientific knowledge, right? They got it from Africa. And what I'm saying is that in the aspect, because one of the things that Bobby Emmett said, I don't know if you know Bobby Emmett or Brother Panic, talking about the black occult side of things, right?
Okay.
They say we will never beat this European on the physical plane. No matter how many weapons we have as Africans, we will never beat this white boy. He is the most violent person ever. Nobody will out violence the European. But he said one place that is not have power is the spiritual world, and that is where we have all our powers. So we, as Africans, we must now enable ourselves and go back into those occult sciences of our own ancestors. So as we are moving economically, we are backing it with our occult power.
Thank you.
So we too,
No,
we are.
thank you.
You get what I'm saying? So we are not just living alone. As Yorubas, we know this now.
What do you hear me now? I want to hear Titi. Oh, Titi, what do you think about that? You said thank you. Titi, if I remember, you have all three. You have all three of the faith within your household.
Even when I found out about the Jew aspect of it, I even say, this sounds
yes. Now make you put that one inside.
But then they put them inside.
My point is, it's not that. You see, that's actually, I wanted to say this. It was one of the things. Actually, thank you. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not cutting you off, cosmetic. I hope I'm not cutting you off. Right? Mm-hmm. Yes. My thing is, this is where we missed it. When they brought that their own to us, okay, this is where we missed it. We missed it because we didn't understand the language that they were speaking. If we have understood the word play, like you guys were mentioning, that they were using in that book that they brought to us, we wouldn't have fallen for their traps. You get what I'm saying? So we, especially we Yorubas, okay, we have to go back, trace back to exactly whom we are as people. You get what I'm saying? That is how we are able to escape a lot of things. Because
we have a perfect example now.
Mm-hmm. An example. You said I should give you an example, right?
No, I said 80 is an example. 80 is an example.
IT. You're not even done. Did you know what happened to the people of Abeokutas?
You know what I'm saying? Do you
know what happened to them? They went to take all of them now. I just found out recently that I didn't even know that we're so close to the Daomis.
Daomis are Yoruba now.
Daomi, then we will reach Daomi.
Of course, now. We don't reach you see, there's something. I again, it's another part of the thing that I write and reflect upon. And it is the Yoruba diversity, and it's the Yoruba pantheon, and it's the Yoruba history, and it's the Yoruba main play today, and what we play into the future. And what I believe is that we need to gather ourselves so that we now design the future. I'm telling you, the power of we in that place we call Nigeria, for the Yoruba, the Igbo, even the Hausa, and then all amongst, what we have to predict and plan the future is, I think, is more than anywhere else in the world. But we have not realized this thing. We haven't realized it. And it is for us, so to put me, I'm working on it to put it in place where I can. But bruh, I need help. I can't lie.
Jago, you're gonna get, the thing is, let me tell you a secret about Father. Father is real. All right. I was gonna say that and then something happened. I hope the devil doesn't cut me off today. Dear devil, okay. Dear devil is not our own issue. I'm gonna narrate that because I will tell you that. The devil is not our own issue. Issue is not their devil. Okay. My point is, we need to be genuine with our own creator. We have lost that connection with our own creator. And the fact is that our Father is real. When I'm saying that our Father is real, I'm so grateful to have been exposed to certain things to be able to have that connection. But Father is real. So we need to go back.
I think in the case of Africa, not Father, it's the mother. The mother is real.
Father
now. Father. Well, I'm not lying.
Mother,
I'm back.
Hey man. We've had a great conversation, Dynast. If I can just give you this message, tell God just left, and he salutes you greatly.
Okay, tell him to come back. I'm back now. I can let people in. I'm back.
Yeah, he's got something to do with his son. He said he'll be back, not today, but another day.
His phone is there. He wants to charge his phone. He said he wants to charge.
Okay, that's right. That's
Okay.
right.
All right. Go ahead, Al. Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, good evening. I just I just jumped in the channel. I thought, I'm gonna minute, I'm at the right place.
Go on.
Yeah, well, go on to everything, Dagon. Everything, bless you, yeah.
Everything, my brother. Everything.
Yeah,
Go
man.
on.
Yeah,
So,
everything. Blessing. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, I was a bit confused about the topic. Really, are we talking about Nigeria? Accepting
Well, you can
foreigners.
put your aspect. If you've been listening, you can put your aspect. But if you
Can I
look at the
say
question,
something
I
I
think the
was saying
question
before you guys
still
cut
is
me off?
valid.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, AL. I know you're gonna say, can I finish real quick, please?
Yeah.
And then I'm
You
gonna
know
go.
what, ladies? Where I come from, ladies always first. You can go on.
I appreciate
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
trained
No
you well, oh my brother.
Shut up, man.
Thank you. My point is just, I just want to let this out. Eledumare is real, very real. Don't deny it. He's a man. No denying. Please don't confuse. He's never going to be a woman. Now, when it comes to the land is going to be a woman. The land is referred to as woman, but the father, the creator, the real king is a man. So just so you guys know, okay, Mama Africa, the land here is Mamani, but the creator, our father, our Eledumare, that we all call Longwa, he is a man, always will be, and that's why I respect all African man. Okay, you are his image, you are
thank
the
you very
true
much.
image of him. Yes,
Thank you very
and
much.
you are loved by him as much as I'm grateful to be loved by an African man and love my African man as
We
well.
love you too.
Good
We
for
love
you.
No,
Thank
that's good.
you.
That's a really good. That's a really good landing. I appreciate that.
Indeed.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, but Jagun, I mean, we live in the UK. Yeah, coming from, obviously, I just come in, right, and I'm just thinking, what's going on in Nigeria? Is Jagabat really gonna let them boys come and set up a base in Nigeria?
My brother, unfortunately, they didn't call me into that decision room. If I was there, I would be very fundamental
Mm,
in throwing the whole thing out. But we have to be practical. These things, we know the antecedents of Nigeria in its politics, and it's been
mm,
up and down. Sometimes it's for us, and most of the time it's been against us. For the last 60 years, the politics of Nigeria has been against the people of Nigeria and hasn't worked strong enough for the African world. And it's an unfortunate position that we find ourselves in. How we're going to deal with that as a first issue is my biggest headache. I can't lie.
mm, mm. So I think if he is to agree to American and French base in Nigeria, in these times that we're living in, after he, first of all, I have been in different platforms. I always one of the few guys I've been there. I said, give him a chance. Let's see what he can do. He just started the regime not long ago and stuff like that. Now I'm speaking of someone that got people in northern Nigeria that I love every single Nigerian. I care about the entire Africans, because no matter how great your tribe is, if your continent and your country is failing, your entire population will fail eventually, right? So
Mm.
what I'm thinking is he becoming the worst sellout puppet leader in the continent
Oh,
by doing?
most definitely.
So
I,
if
I,
that's the case, yeah,
mm.
if that's the case, do you think he's obviously going to be one of the first one-time elected Nigerian president?
Well, that you see again where Nigerian politics is concerned.
Mm,
One, he stole the election. Everybody saw it. The fact that he stole the election and got away with it, it's not been the first time that this kind of thing has happened in Nigeria. But again, I have to blame the Nigerians. They allowed this to happen. You
mm,
cannot allow a thief to run your country. But that's what's
yeah.
going on at the moment. So he's playing a
Unfor-
guessing game. And with the
mm,
fact that he's playing a guessing game, and he has a lot of politics that he's dealing with the North doing what it is, with the East doing what it does, and with the West, the Yorubas have recently called for secession from Nigeria through
mm.
one woman, and
A
that
woman,
yeah, it's one lady who was married to the late Abiola. She
right?
has had enough and decided that she wants to call for Yoruba separation.
I thought the wife who was married to Abiola was assassinated too. Oh, he had more than one wife.
He had about 26 wives, bro.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. yeah, go on.
So
yeah.
with that kind of thinking, I
Yeah.
don't know. I think that 2027, which is
Yeah.
the next election in Nigeria, I think that's already bought, and I think Tinubu has bought that election. So we could have him there for 8 years.
It would depend. It would depend on what some of the people think of him and what the, what I think. I think it's not. I think he'll be shocked. I think something will happen if he allowed America and the French to build a base, to set up a base in Nigeria.
Yeah.
We can come back again in 2027. I hope this platform is running. And I am 100% sure he will no longer be there. That's my take on it.
For the reason that he brought these people in.
Yes, for the reason
All right,
that
can I ask y'all a question?
No, let me just
sir.
finish.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, yeah, you can
Go
ask
ahead.
your question. Yeah. So
I just want to ask you a quick question.
yeah,
I'll let you go. I'll let you go. Me personally, I've been a fan of Dynast. I've been listening to y'all guys for a minute, man. And personally, I got property in Uganda, right? And I want to still go to Nigeria. I really want to give that a shot. So I'm trying to figure out, speak to local.
Come with us in August.
And I'm leaving. I'm going back to Uganda in August, man. So I'm gonna probably come and catch y'all.
Planes fly from Uganda to Nigeria.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So I'm trying to see where I can meet y'all guys at, because I'm actually going to be. I do trucks, and I got a couple businesses over in Uganda, right? So I'm trying to see where y'all will be at, so I can put my funds out or put my funds aside so I can meet y'all over there in Nigeria. That's what I'm trying to say, basically. I'm so sorry.
Do me a favor. Send me an email. Include your phone number. I'm gonna put my email in the chat. Just send me an email and include your phone number.
Okay. My bad, guys, for the noise and interrupting y'all, man. I'm up here driving trucks right now, man. So gotta get it.
You're right.
Your business. My email is in the chat room. Send me an email. Include your phone number, and I'll call you later on today.
All right, man. Guys, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
No problem.
Appreciate it, brother. But yeah, I mean, it's really surprising to hear that. But I just think this might be a rumor, or I don't think this will happen. And I hope it doesn't, because, if that happened, he will invite a Cold War in the region. Because having two superpowers, one in Nigeria, I don't know where they're going to put the base. So let's assume he's going to have a base in the US, going to have a military base that has been kicked out like a dog rag from the Sahel by the Tuaregs, right? And then obviously you're going to have a Russian military might in Niger Republic that's already based in Mali and Burkina, facing, Nigeria against America, in northern Nigeria, this like it's just, I can't imagine it. It's just crazy. And I don't know whether, I don't think he'll do it. I know the guy is smart enough not to do it. I think he's a very good politician, and I think, he's probably surrounding himself with good people, not to advise him to go that far. Because if he does, I think the whole region is going to blow apart, because they're going to use this as a proxy in Africa. We all know what happened in the continent over the years with all this Russia versus America, the East versus the West proxy wars. We know that. What do you think? Do you think it's gonna
Well,
plan out?
again, as I said, my reasoning on Nigeria is that the people, more so than the politicians, have to get themselves in gear. I'm tired of the politicians where Nigeria is.
Yes, I think you're right. They have to.
If the people don't structure their minds and understand what is going on in the world enough to know who they're putting as their leader, I have to blame Nigerians. I have to. Blaming one man is easy, but the fact of the position is that we have a whole nation of over 200 million people that are being looked upon in the world to be resourceful for themselves, not even for anyone else, for themselves. Nigeria is, with all the resources we have, we are not playing at the level we're supposed to be playing at, and that is the major crime. So, Tinubu's government is a waste of time. Buhari's government was 8 years wasted, where we are concerned. And if Nigerians don't wake up to that fact, then we're a lost cause. We're a lost cause.
Yeah,
We don't have to wait for 8 years. We can
Hey guys,
impeach him.
let me pass it to Isis Goddess. I'm gonna pass it to Adebeo. Go ahead, Isis guys.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, I've been following this program for a very long time. I'm originally from Sierra Leone and I lived in Germany.
Oh, howdy, Baldy.
Currently, the body not bad.
Howdy, buddy. The body.
my sister, I'd agree to you. How the family?
Yeah, the body not bad. All seem fine. With
Okay,
thank
good.
God,
Good,
thank
good. Our Saro sister.
yes, exactly.
Nami Salo sister.
Yes, so that's so for B. We all have to be looking out for each other. Very, very important.
Yes.
You know, I live in Germany currently. I'm in United Kingdom, UK. You know, Dynas, I just want to say thank you very much for bringing us together.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Very, very, very important. I've been following you. I've never joined your program before, but I decided to join because what
She
is
talks like she's from
going
Cameroon.
on is all of our business.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yes.
we have to
Yes.
start somewhere. As long as the conversation have started, because this is a season of transformation.
Yes.
Whether you believe it or not, we are transforming.
Yes.
And when fire is transforming things, it's different from when water is doing things. Water is doing
Yes.
their cleansing, and fire cleansing is very much powerful.
Yes, not true.
You know, and
Yes.
this is a season of like a fire season, you know, where all things are unveiling, all the deep and thick secret things. Something that you don't know you don't want person to know about, don't do it. Because it's going to come out definitely.
Well, this is the age of Aquarius.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the days of things are exposing right in front of us is unbelievable.
Yes.
And
That's
as
it.
long as this conversation have started, it means we are going somewhere. Because I will tell you for free, West Africa is the last battleground. Because they've already got the East, the South is gone, the North is gone, and now is Black West Africa.
Thank
And
you.
West Africans are not
Hey,
easy.
Isis Goddess. Sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry. I have to share this with you. So
Okay.
I was speaking with this. They're not necessarily tour operators, but they do. They work with Sierra Leone's Ministry of Tourism. It's like a third party. They're contracted out, and we were discussing tourism in Africa, and I brought up why such the interest now of West Africa from Europeans, and her exact word was that West Africa is the final frontier. Those are her exact
Yes.
words.
Yeah. Exactly so.
Thank
Because
you.
West Africa, we are at the coast. We have
Was she
nowhere to
white,
go.
or was she African, or was she a white lady?
She's
Sorry.
white. She's white. She's white.
Wow. You see, and nobody's taking notice of this. So I just want to bring this to our awareness that Africa is the last place, because we only have the sea to cross. Because if we lose there, we're just going to jump to the sea and drown ourselves. So we can't afford to. We have to use all whatever it can, even if it's our voodoo or whatever it takes us to use.
Yes.
You know, because we West Africans, we are not easy people. We have that energy is in us. It's in our DNA. The ancestors have lived that in us. Because sometimes we don't know who we are. You know, because when I went to Germany, that's the time I begin to realize our powers, West African. Because the way West African behave, I'm not trying to talk down on the other Africans, because all the continents have their different powers. What our ancestors leave for us in our DNA is inside of us. It's just that we don't know how to tap into it, because we are
Christianity
scared
has
of our
taken it
power.
away.
We are scared of ourselves.
Yes.
And if we don't love ourselves, nobody is going to love us. My grandmother used to say monkey, we get him picking. I go see am pakri. We get him picking. It's away. I'm not to tick go olam. It means if a monkey throw their if a monkey throw their baby in the bush, is it the tree that will go and carry the baby? So if we cannot tolerate ourselves, we cannot love ourselves, who is going to love us? Even if you drive the most expensive car or you live in the most expensive area, they will still see you as a, They will
Yeah.
not see respect for you. As long as the least man is going to bed hungry in Africa, we leave our sick, our needly, our poor. We just leave them like that. Everybody want to say, "Oh, I'm the first person that drive that car in town. Oh, I'm the first person that build." This is not about competition. To compete is good. Healthy competition is a good thing, but compete where you want to be higher than the other. We have to learn to work as a team, because you achieve more when we work as a team, than living in isolation. Because bully like when you are alone. We are living in a world full of bullies. And bully cannot bully you when you are in a group. Even the animals know how to look out for their kind. Elephant walk with elephant.
Right.
Tiger go with tiger. Everybody go. It's only we Africans will be looking for everybody, just for us not to look for each other. We look for all kind of excuse.
That's why
And
we must
nowadays we are even
dismantle the
worse.
educational system.
Yeah, now we are even worse. We are ready to take Chinese, we take Japan, just for to go and carry person that is Africa. We are scared of each other.
Yeah.
How did we get to this point?
It's intentional, because in order for the Europeans and the world to be able to do what they do to us, we must be out of our minds.
They
That is
use it, my sister. They use the internet to divide us based on tribe. They use the internet to divide us based on religion. They let us shout
exactly.
at one another while they crawling in slowly and slowly
I
and
know,
slowly.
right?
Yeah.
Because even this tribal thing is a blessing if we use it the right way. Tribe is not a bad thing.
No.
It's something that the ancestor is just a big language family, because most of the tribe have things in common. They have similar things. Africa is not meant for even to be a country. We used to live as a language family
Yes.
before they now come and divide us into country. This language family have similarities. Even our gods, we call them different names, but it's the same
Concept, yes, we
mythology
all
and
have the same
everything we
concept. Yeah,
have.
it's the same. Yeah, the same concept.
At the end of the day, it's the same tradition and culture. Even the food we are eating, it's just the same way one or two person we add other ingredients. But at the end of the day, it's the
Depending on
same.
ecology.
Because even me and my husband, we are going through some things here in the UK, which is unbelievable. Because there is no strong community. Because what they are doing to us black people out there, the bully and intimidation we are going through, because they see that we don't have a community, that we have each other's back. So everybody is ready to jump on us and take advantage of that situation. They will not do it to Chinese people, because Chinese look out for Chinese. No matter where they go, they look out for each other. Indian look out for Indians. Pakistani look out for their own people. But only we will be running from each other. We just want to see where they are
And go
beating
and
one
join the
black
other.
person.
I want to join other people. Other people.
Hey, let me.
Who said that? I need to
ISIS
come
got.
and drag you back.
Okay, well, let me pass it to Ade. Let me pass it to Adebayo, and then
Thank you,
Adebayo.
my sister. Thank you, my sister.
Yeah, Adebayo, go ahead.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you, Dynast. What's up, brother? It's been a while. It's a pleasure to be on your platform finally. We've always been talking behind the scenes, but it's good to be in the forum with the rest of our beautiful intellectual African brothers and sisters throughout the diaspora. I'm calling right now from Bayonne, New Jersey, or New York City metro area. I am Nigerian, Yoruba, and Igbo. Um, and I love the discourse. I love the exchange of ideas. And we must continue to support this platform and platforms like this on a daily basis, because what we lack is, our youth need direction. And unfortunately, the church has been the leader for Nigeria. The church and the mosque has pretty much controlled thought and dialogue in our country. And our youth have no idea of what the Black man global experience is and where it's heading. And we need this conversation to continue so that we can repoint them and make them aware of actually what's going on. And understand that these books that they hold on to have nothing to do with reality. And as long as they continue to base their entire lives on those books, on those fiction, on those novels, we're always going to be behind, and we're going to get recolonized, because these books allow for the recolonization. These books allow the colonizer to come back in easily and dominate, because even our people will be begging them to come back and take over our country, which, as you see, I mean, I hope it's not even really serious that Tinubu is looking to bring French and UK and the US Army on Nigeria's soil for a base. That would be the worst, most catastrophic, dangerous idea we've ever entertained since Biafra.
By the way,
And
you can't find Tinubu right now.
huh?
You
Yeah,
can't find
he's
Tinubu
missing
right
right
now.
now. Yeah, he's missing. But it's like the idea of that. I mean, and the sad part is that the youth will not even, they will be almost welcoming. I mean, last year I remember in Ghana when, on TikTok, you had the US Army, some Afrobeat song came out, and then these US soldiers were trying to dance it and do this thing as they marched their way onto Ghanaian soil. And I'm like, and our people were sitting there commending and cheering for them. I'm like, do you understand what's about to happen to your country? These people that are gonna sit and do this Afro beat with you will put guns in your face, put guns in your mouth overnight. And it's the same kind of reality that we would face in Nigeria if we dare allow these people to come in to our country for whatever pretense. We know they're the one causing the instability. We know they're the fathers of terrorism and ISIS and all of these things. So we can't allow them. But like I said, it's our youth that doesn't understand. So this conversation has to get louder and more amplified so they can understand their true enemies of their future, because their future is what's going to be impacted most. Because the longer they stay in this slumber, the more stunted our growth and our development will be to come up out of this colonial mentality. So once again, Brother Dynast, I implore you to continue this and continue to grow. I love the energy behind it. I've been, and also brothers like Jagun all over the continent. You know your opinion, your strong opinions. You talk with a lot of force, a lot of might. We have to be resolute in our campaign to reclaim Africa back. So that's really all. Just what I wanted to share with you, and thank you all for the experience.
Hey, no problem. Thank you, brother. Hey, let me Isis Goddess. I'm sorry. Did we cut you off? Go ahead and finish. Isis.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to make a brief hasty back according to what my grandmother told us back in the days when this European came to take Sierra Leone. Because if you find out that in Sierra Leone you find a lot of places which those names are here in England, like Kent, we have Waterloo, Charlotte, all those places, they already named them. And they were not planning to go back. They planned to stay there, just like what they did to South Africa, because Sierra Leone is a beautiful place. Diners can testify that he's been there. Back in the days before the war, nobody want to travel to abroad because it's only the Creole people, which are mostly Yoruba, that used to go to abroad to study. And when they study, there is job waiting for them to come back home. When they came, what our ancestors do to fight back, it was mosquitoes, spiritual mosquitoes. They use, they have their spiritual power they use to fight back. The question is that are we accessing those power today? Do we have access to them? Or are we seeing them as evil? And the thing is that they replace all those things with churches and mosque. I'm not against, to go to church, to go to mosque, but we should not forget who we are, Don't get me wrong, some people really use our spiritual things for negative purpose, but there's always karma, because those things that our ancestors leave for us is to protect ourselves, not to use it to start fighting each other for pen, for soap, for bowl, started using it to fight for things that don't even make sense at all, because we don't know what time we have. We don't know what time is it. Our ancestors used spiritual mosquito to pursue them out, to send them away. And it worked out very well. Until today, most of their graveyards or whatever is still there as evidence of what happened in the past. So now they are coming again. And this time around, they are coming in they come with different mask on their face. This time they don't come with force. It's like, you have hard power, you have soft power. Soft power is religion, it's part of soft power. And they bring religion. You find now, even Sierra Leone today, now most of the schools, you see the children covering their head, going to mosque. And our leaders are leaving the population to be very, very vulnerable, because there are things that as a leader you need to protect your people from, which is your duty. When you see people coming to exploit your people, but the leaders are just accepting it just because of their own selfish interest, because they don't know putting your people at risk, you are putting yourself at risk indirectly. But they are so blind with material wealth, and they forget to think that if these my people are gone, who are going to be playing with my own children? Is it those foreign entities that don't know you much? Are they the one? Because Black people, if we find out that now that we start loving ourselves, you even see Chinese are now claiming that they're Africans. Now everybody wants to be Africans because they see that we're beginning to love ourselves. Because the more you know your history, the more you know where you're coming from, the more you begin to appreciate yourself. And the more we begin to love ourselves. You see, everybody will love us automatically. We don't need to wear the most expensive clothes or go and bleach skin or go and put wig or weave on our head for people to love us and appreciate us. We just need to shower praises on each other. Even if you have your child, you have the most ugliest child in town. It's the way you present the child. If I go and say, my child is the most beautiful child, everybody will be looking in their mind. They will know that it's not true. But if me, the mother have declared, says the most beautiful more than everybody, who dare you to come and challenge my narrative? Because that is how I see it. So that is how we learn. We have to learn to appreciate each other. Because I find that when I came to Germany, the Germans, they always stick together. Even if they are fighting each other, as soon as somebody strange appear in their midst, they will make sure they put their differences aside and deal with that so-called foreign entity. And after they deal with you, finish, they can go back to their quarrel. And this is the type of mindset we have to develop as Black people. Don't say, no, me, I will say the truth. Oh, even if you are from my place, you look like me. If you are wrong, you are wrong. Other people don't do it like that. They always have each other's back. Do you tell me that you go and offend one Chinese person and the Chinese will say, no, it's my brother that offend you. Let's go and deal with him. No, they will not. They will first deal with you, even if you are the one that go and disturb them. They will first make sure say, no, you are the one that is wrong, even when you know that you are right. You see, and this is the reason when I moved to the UK, because when I was then in Germany, I find out that a lot of Black people are with Germans, you understand? So I was thinking, I said, okay, maybe because of paper and all those issues. But when I came to UK, I see a lot of, language was not a barrier, because Germany, we have the language barrier, which can cause you to do things that you don't mean to do it, but because of means of survival, the way at which the predicament of Black people at the moment, So when I came here, I see the way Black people worship whiteness was extremely. So I was like, okay, what is going on in this place? So I observe. I'm a type of person that when I go anywhere, I observe very well. I don't just make friends easily. So I see the way people licking asses. I was like, what is going on here? But me and my husband, we maintain our pride, we maintain our dignity. We make sure we keep on our lane. And it was the same Black person they sent into our place to come and, because something happened to our son in the hospital, our third born. He was admitted in the hospital and they used experimental machine on him. They experimented on him without telling us. But because of I have a medical experience from Germany, I was able to detect. So I challenged them with letter and complain. And so when I complained to the hospital, they were not expecting that. So they used force on us, in order to silence us, for us not to go too far. So last year, November 22nd, they sent police and social services and, they bring in terror on us in our home. And me and my husband, we were devastated. We don't know where to start, but we keep our calm because we are not the type of people that mingle too much. So we go back into our cocoon and pick ideas together, and hand over the issue into the hands of our ancestors. And our ancestors really see us too, We didn't go to church or go to mosque or started shouting. We go there and we said, what are we going to do next? This type of attack, we don't have a strong community that have our back. So we decided to continue with the complaint, which they were not expecting. And I even went out on the media. I went to one or two few platforms, explained my story, exposed them. I was not having Dynast email address. I wanted to even write you about it so that I can come to your platform and explain our story in order to create awareness, to other people. So, and we continue. We don't shake, It was really a terror, but since we know that our hands are clean, sometimes they said if you want to eat with devil, you have to have long spoon. That's what my grandmother said. If you don't have a long spoon, don't eat with devil. But because we know we don't have a long spoon, so we don't eat with the devil. We make sure we're content with what we have. And this is the thing I will advise also Black people. We have to learn to content with what we have, how little bit or much. Everybody wants to be great, but do it the right way. Because we are in a society where the narrative of anti-Black is real. And sometimes it's we they are using to even disseminate that type of message without we even knowing. Does it worth it to sell yourself just for, fancy things that one day everybody is going to live on this planet? So we go through all that. Let me just cut everything short. And we continue with the complaint. They are the one that come and offend us, and they are the one that take us to court again. So me and your husband said, because in the beginning we don't understand how their system function in here, but we read, we do some research, and what we decided to do to stick to each other. Even my husband is a Nigerian, is a Yoruba man, and I'm from Sierra Leone. We understand each other perfectly because there is no difference in the culture. It's all about understanding in relationship. Once you understand each other, everything, there is nothing that is impossible. It's our decision of coming together. He has his experience, I have my own experience. We come together and try to make a better life for us and our children. So we stick together because they were expecting us to start fighting each other. And then they will say, oh, the children are coming from a dysfunctional family, so we need to intervene. They need our help. But we show them that we don't need anybody. We just need each other. And that is the situation that was going on. But we thank the Almighty, we thank the ancestor for where we are now at the moment. We are able to put things right and tell them that you cannot come and steal something in my house and take me to court. We tell them we are not going to attend your court proceeding. We are going to issue our own human rights for the human rights abuse. We are going to issue proceeding against you, and we are not joining. Up till now, as I'm speaking, they have our children. But that doesn't make us, we didn't allow the situation to break us down. My husband still go to work. He's the engineer. And I heard in the chat room that somebody was advocating for skill. Skill is very, very important, to be honest. Because imagine if my husband was not a skillful person, if he was working in the plantation, if he was in a plantation job, they would have set him up. He will have easily be set up if he's working in all those offices. But because of his working with iron, Ogun Energy is working with iron. So there is nothing that they can use to set him up. He still continue to go to. I was working as a healthcare in the healthcare. I decided to leave my job because they can set me up there. Because I've been going to work, I do part-time because of the children. I was not doing medication and all those things. I prefer to do all those small jobs because it's only weekend I work. All of a sudden, it started forcing me to go into some areas. So because of I know the battle that is at hand, is very, very... So I decided to leave the job at the moment. I said, let me just focus on what I'm focusing, but my husband is going to work. And I am there as a mother, doing what's necessary, things I need to do, take care of the paperwork and all the other things. So this is the importance of having a strong community. And I believe that what they did to us, if it was a Chinese or Indian or other people, they won't go that far because sometimes it take our own people. It's our own people that enter in our house. The lady come, the social worker lady came. I explained all my story. I said, this is what and what they did to my son in the hospital. I show her pictures and everything. I have all the evidence from A to Z. And I was expecting this sister to help me, to show me the way out. Say, this is how and how you will do it for you to get justice. Instead of what he did, he go out and set me up for danger. But at the end of the day, the ancestor, I believe that they are going to turn it for our own favor, you know. And at the end of the day, they will be put to shame, because when they use you, the thing that people don't know about you being used against your people, if you allow strangers to use you against your people, they are not going to ever trust you. That is what a lot of our people don't understand, because you making yourself usable against your own people, you're making yourself vulnerable to the enemy, because the enemy can see you that, okay, if I can use you against your people and you agree, then it means you can turn against me later. So mostly when they deal with you, when they finish with you, they used to dispose their subject, because they see you as dangerous, you know. So these are some of the things that it's good that this conversation is going on, and it has to continue. Our youth need to hear our experiences. They need to know direction, because I believe we are the generation that is coming up. We are losing our elders. Our elders are going, and we need to step up and make a difference. So I will stop for here.
Can I
From
can I can I can
You
I
said well. You spoke well. Thank you, madam.
Yeah,
can
Big
I
Big
read
Sister,
something to you guys? Can I read
one
something to you
second,
guys?
one second, let me just respond quick. Big Sister, sorry for what happened to you. You
yeah.
know, it really sad. It really sad, you know, and I will let me know behind the chat. You know, if you get any problem, call me. Yeah,
Okay. All right. Thank
yeah,
you.
I will let you know behind the chat.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. There's something happening right now in the black world.
Mhm.
Um, U.S. neo-Nazis rally over anti-white crime. It's a shocking scene. A neo-Nazi rally in a U.S. suburb demanding action against black women over an alleged crime. Members of the NSC 131 stood on a roadside in Greenwich, chanting Nazi slogans and giving one-arm salute. They say they want justice after a white female was allegedly attacked in a local park, and they warn if police don't take the right action, they will be back. In case you don't know, the NSC stands for Nationally Social Club. It has about 30 members and is one of a growing member of white supremacist group in America. In December 23, it was sued by the Massachusetts Attorney General over campaign of violent protest and attack of LGBT and non-white people. Basically, white people are organizing. White people are organizing. They are they want to return to back what their ancestors used to do, whereby they will lie on a black woman and they will do mob justice. So we too, like the lady, the Sierra Leone lady was talking, we need to start organizing ourselves. We need to start, there was this stat that came out that black people tend to survive, I think 80% more when they go to a black hospital than when they go to a white hospitals. So I mean, it's the same thing all our greats are saying. We need to consciously start creating our own community consciously. We need to say, you know what, I'm not buying from this person, I'm not buying from that person. We're going to buy from here. We're going to keep this money to ourselves and invest in this. We need to start building our community. We need to start buying houses and living together in the same community. And we need to be selfish. We need to be selfish with our resources as a people. If you ain't doing nothing for us, you ain't getting nothing. Everything we own is for black and African people. Simple.
You're absolutely right, because sometimes we don't know our power. Without black people, the internet will not be what it is today, because they need us in anything, because our energy is very, very powerful. For anything to go on this planet, they need that energy. Everybody need that energy. So, when you need something so badly, you have to pretend that the thing is not worth it. You have to play down on it for you to get it cheap and easy. Like, for example, if you went to the market, you want to buy something, you cannot be praising the thing extremely. You make the trader become very proud and pompous, and so that is the thing about black people. So they know how powerful we are. So they have to be trading us for cheap, using psychological warfare. And one thing that our people don't know, what psychological warfare is the most dangerous warfare in this planet, not even the guns or whatever. Psychological warfare is very, very dangerous, because psychological warfare is where someone can come and convince you to see a black as white and a green as blue, even when you are seeing it with your own eye. We will say in our pidgin, with your kuro eye.
Koro eyes. Oh.
You'll be seeing it with your kuro eye. But this is green now. Say, no, it's blue. They will convince you by all means necessary to say it's blue. So if you are not mentally strong and stable and understand how psychological warfare work, you easily fall into traps. Like when I went to the hospital, when they were telling me, they were making as if they are on the best interest of my child. But within myself, I know what it means. If you're doing something for my best interest, I will know. You don't need to convince me. You don't need to force me. You don't need to do any other thing. I will know within myself. Your gut feeling will tell you that this is what is going on is right or is wrong. This is something that all of us have naturally. You see, so we have to really learn to support each other, because if we have our own medical, have our own thing, such thing like that will not be going on. Because even when I went to the hospital, I saw a Ghanaian sister child also was lying down there, and she was telling me like, oh sister, why are you always here? Why are you always looking? You have to go home and rest. These people are professional. They will take care of your baby very well. People have that mentality that, oh, this is abroad.
Yes, especially Nigerians.
That
Why
mentality,
people cannot do no wrong.
they cannot do no
Yeah.
wrong. Exactly. And that mentality is really killing people. It's really causing a lot of casualties, and people don't even realize it.
What is the third cost of death in America? Pharmaceutical drugs.
Yeah, and she was telling me, why you always here? You always here. Go home and rest and relax. I said, no, sister, I can't go home. I said, I'm fine. I'm not complaining. And guess what? When they were dressing her baby, the way they were bouncing her baby on top of the bed, the nurses, in my mind, I was like, oh, really? This is the lady that is telling me to go home now. Look what they are doing with your baby at your back. And then later on, because they see that I see them, what they were doing, they come to my side. Oh, mom, can we bless your baby? I say, no. I say, leave him. I'll do it for myself. I say, I don't need your help. I say, I'm going to be here 24 hours a day. I will not give anybody chance. So I'll be watching. And that poor child, they will be operating his eye. They will come and operate his back. They will be doing all sorts of things. And at the end of the day,
Sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead. Keep going. I wanted to say something when you're done. Go ahead.
They'll be performing all type of things on him, and the parents are not like, not following up what is going on. Because if I was not there with my baby would have just died just like that, and they would have said, oh yeah, we tried our best, but
Take his melanin.
Yeah,
Grind him up and take his melanin.
Yeah, exactly. And even when my baby was bleed, he even has bleed on his brain. They even bleed his brain. They were using a machine, which was an experimental machine. And I was there monitoring them and everything. And when it started, and they still leave him because all the students were all over him. And I said, no, you have to stop this now. And they said, oh, yeah, what can we do now? I said, no, you have to stop. And I went to the consultant and tell him right in front of his face. I said, my baby is not an experimental tool. I said, and if you continue what you're doing, I'm going to create scene in this hospital. Trust me. And they now started looking for platelets, to thicken his blood and to stop the bleeding. And it was really horrible. It was a very, very horrible thing that happens to me here. But I have to keep my mental health stable. It's very, very, very important, because when you find yourself in the midst of war, you have to take your emotion first and
I love what you just said about war. We are at war. That's what most Africans
that
don't
is
understand.
it.
We are at war.
Yeah, because the thing is that because we are taught war, like all those movies we used to watch, agents movie with gun, with pistol, that's what we are taught. And even violence, we are taught that violence is when woman go and slap woman, go and squeeze the throat, or slapping, boxing and kicking each other. Violence starts way before that. Even a man, you keep a woman in the house, you cannot support the woman if the woman is not able to support herself. It's violence. You don't even need to slap or kick or box.
I see. Tomato. You need it anytime soon.
So these are some of the violence we are facing here in abroad, and people don't even realize it. And now we find out that most of even our food, our own African food, is being sold by Asians, and we don't see any problem with it. We
Exactly.
are happy to go and buy and support them, and we don't see that is part of war. When you cannot sell your own food, you cannot provide your also basic things that you're eating is being sold by someone else that don't look like you.
And that is why I said one of the philosophy we must have as a people is that we must see as Africans that having certain people around us is detrimental to our health. So at all costs, at all means, we must segregate ourselves from them. We do not want you here. Anything that it costs, we must, especially white people, they are detrimental to our health in every aspect of health.
It's true, but in a globalized, we find ourselves in the midst of a global structure that is in place, where you don't know who is who anymore.
That's a lie.
People have already involved, they've already involved themselves into it.
I really think, like what you said. I said I was going to say something on it. Like what you mentioned about psychological war, it goes on a lot in our community, especially it's also going on here on the land and also in states. You get what I'm saying? And the saddest part about it is that now that we have been groomed to love them so much that our people even starting to accept the marriage, that they have forgotten what have happened to them or what have happened to our ancestors. I say them because I feel like we are the remade of our ancestors. You get what I'm saying? Because we are passing on the DNA.
Definitely.
Just like they are their ancestors, they can never get
Yeah.
rid of that too either. So, I mean, imagine what is happening. So my point is that just like you mentioned, that we need to, what is they mentioned? We need to separate from them, because if we don't, we are going to. I'm sorry to say, I'm going to be realistic, but we are going to be killing off ourselves in the next
Extinction.
decade.
Please.
We are going. We're going to be exterminated completely.
I think that's a mission, because the way things is going, because
The
we've
way
been
things are going,
blinded.
but I know I'm not one of the people but I know that we are going to have power over them. You get what I'm
Yes,
saying? Because
definitely.
at the end of the day, there's something someone mentioned today that we have over them, and that is our spirituality. I always say that we have power,
So true.
just like you said, our
Yeah.
spirituality overpower everything that they are seeing in the physical.
Yes,
Because
indeed.
nothing happens in the physical without it. I'm telling you from experience, nothing happened in the physical, just like you said.
Without the spiritual, yeah.
Without it happening in the spiritual.
You're
What
absolutely right.
happened with your kid? I'm not trying to use it as an example. What happened with your kid? It had happened in the spiritual. And the Most
Wow.
High just had to let you go through that experience so you can use it to teach other people.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? I don't know if
Yeah,
that is
I get you.
I have went through some similar experience, but not the same. I'm not even
Yeah,
gonna tell you what I did in America. When I say I ran, I ran. It's not like I can't go back to America, but I ran from America.
No, even me. I don't plan. I came to America in 2008, and I now live in Los Angeles. I do not plan to be 40 in this country. In short, I'm planning to run away from this country in the next 3 to 4, 5 years, and probably bring my family and whoever I have with me by then.
If you can move your family, I beg you, move
It's
on.
true. I know, right? I know, because
It's
no
a
matter
place.
how,
Of
Yeah.
course, it's
yeah, no
detrimental
matter
to
how,
our mental
yeah,
health,
it's very,
psychological.
very important.
So Titio, are you presently in Nigeria yourself?
I said yes, I ran. Yes, I'm in Nigeria
You
myself.
you do better now. You don't do better. Me,
When I say
I can live in Nigeria,
I
but
don't know
I
why
because
people be complaining about living in Nigeria, because I'm like,
they
I have a shawarma business in Nigeria, and the shawarma business is making me from 25,000 naira to 50,000 naira a day.
Wow.
So now, if
Congratulations.
I'm able to be making 25,000 naira to 50,000 naira a day, that's about how much a month? That's almost like 3 to 5 million naira a month. a month, what am I looking for?
That's all. You're right.
I
What
like
am I
that.
looking
It's
for?
I mean,
it's like why is
well,
that? I'm sorry, what she said we need to be contented. You are contented with
Contempt,
what a lot of our
exactly.
people
Contempt mind.
are greedy.
Very, very important.
A lot of our people, I'm not even like, sometimes it gets to me too because I'm surrounded by some, some people that are just like greedy. But I know myself, so I have to withdraw myself away. Like they are greedy. I've been around our people. Our people are greedy. Let's be real. Let's be
Sometimes it's
Wow.
not even that they're greedy. They're
It's
just
not
bloody
just
ignorant. They're very ignorant.
yeah.
Let me just quickly put this story in to back up what certain people are
And
saying.
then we're gonna close out. We'll go ahead.
Sure, thank you. A friend of mine, as I said, I'm in London. The Niger community there here in London, differently. But a friend of mine, very much similar to myself, he's gone back to Nigeria for the past 6 months now, and he's living in Abuja in a 6-bedroom house, fully furnished. He got the 2 cars outside. He's with a friend of ours as well. Swimming pool day, for those who like to swim. And he says, "Oh boy, this lifestyle I'm living in Nigeria. If I'm living in England like this, I'm paying through the nose." It's because he's still working with sterling. He finds everything very easy, because he's still got his company here. He's doing business here from Nigeria, so he's earning. But he's looking to enter into lithium, so they are looking at one contract. So, but he says, as he's living with no Nigerian income in Nigeria as it is, he said he's living. He said what he's paying from his own money is 50% less than what he's paying in England.
Wow.
of course.
So it's very easy for him.
And one of the things I want to stress
quick
is
one after you. I'll just
okay,
sorry.
yeah. One thing I also want to stress is that we must make it an habit wherever we are as a people together, not to make it comfortable for any outsiders, especially Europeans, to be
Yep.
among us. We must make it to the point whereby once a European come among us, he is so uncomfortable that he has to leave. That he has to live like, nah, these people, the way they are looking at me, they will kill me if I don't live here. We have to make it so uncomfortable for them that the idea that dark Africa that they used to think, that the ancestors used to think that is black Africa, dark Africa, that's the place of voodoo. We must put that thing back in their minds. Especially we have some things in Yoruba, right? In Yoruba, some Yoruba, right, that we do that is a bloodline kind of cause. That if somebody of this bloodline come into this thing or take this thing, immediately something is happening to them. So one of the voodoo we must do is that we must take the blood of Europeans and do some voodoo things to it with the land of Africa. That anytime that they come into that land, something bad just start happening to them. Like they just start feeling uncomfortable. That is the best way we should undo them. Like the best thing to do with Europeans, we don't need to fight them. We just need to ignore them. We just need to ignore them. But in order for us to do that, there are some things we must put in place.
Okay, spiritually, yes, because spiritual.
I'm not a foodie person, but I don't know. I don't know about that one. No, but that one is
no. But this is to be learning our voodoo.
We can do it. It's something we can do. Is very okay. For example, in Yoruba land, for example, I will say this, and I will leave it for you guys. In Yoruba land, right, there's this voodoo whereby, especially there's done in Ondo or Ibadan, and if you are a thief, and you come into that area, and you steal, and they did not catch you, they have this voodoo whereby they will call on the ground, and the ground will rewind you back. Let's say you're about 20 miles or 30 miles away already from that place. There's a voodoo that will do, you think you are gone, you will not know when you find yourself back in that place.
Wow.
The ground will draw you back. It's what Igboho and them did to these Fulani people that came and killed people in Ibadan or Ondo. They called them back through the ground. They speak to the ground. They speak to the ground, and the ground draw them back. They wind them back.
Please, there's a reason why we are where we are today. Let's be real. There's a reason why we are where we are today. There is a reason. So don't let us go back to the same reason why we are here today.
No.
There's a reason.
I disagree with that. That is not a reason why we are, because before these people came and take over, then just allow me just shortly. Before they came, they said people, our fortune tellers back in the days, they see back then. that strangers are coming from afar.
Yes.
They see them coming and they warn people. They say when they
want a
come,
lot of
they
people.
will
They
bring
want a lot of the
gifts.
kings.
They say they will
Yes.
bring gifts come. Nobody should accept the gifts.
Yeah.
And when they accept the gift, that's the reason why we are where we are today. So anybody that is telling any other story, say because of our voodoo and this is a lie. Because the same people that are condemning our voodoo, they are the same one that
they are
is
using it.
They are using it against us. We don't even know.
Okay, no, my sister, what I would tell is try to tell you. First of all, you know, my number they be in the chat. If you need any help, you know, call me. I didn't.
All right, okay, I go tell you. I go.
Okay. Well, first of all, Diners, you know well. My sister, hello, sister, you know well. You know, for me, rest in peace to Sengbe Pierre, Baibure, Samuri Ture, Alfaya Jalo, Bubakar Kiru. Right now, to turn in their grave. These my ancestors who fought to chase Europeans out of West Africa, to know some sellout is happy to welcome them back to recolonize us. That will never happen. I know we talk about spirituality, that's good, but what liberates us really, what gives these people really hard time in West Africa is physicality also. These people don't respect spirituality, you know, more than physicality. We chase them, our terrain is more, we know our territory better than them. Baibure and Segwepe used to tease the British to let them run into the forest and give them a big trouble. They make sure these people sat on hot fire. That's what they need to do. They can never be rest. I mean, if this guy's been chased out by dusty Sahelian, you know, Tuareg in the Sahel over the last 10 years, they couldn't defeat the Tuaregs in the Sahel. There's no way they can defeat the entire West Africa. Not if we actually, you know, sit on our hands. If we don't sit on our hands, they cannot defeat us. We need to fight back. We cannot let these people come to West Africa and take the last bit of land that been preserved by those guys that I mentioned. Because those guys,
They
as I
fought for us
mentioned,
exactly.
they
Their
fought
effort
and
must not
died
be in
for
vain.
us. Yes, they shouldn't be in vain at all. So on that note, I'm just going to land. Thank you very much, my brothers and sisters.
No problem. Hey, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror Search for Haru. Peace.
Well done. Thank you.